Meeting.
I'll make a
of
motion to
Monday.
reopen the special board meeting.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Say aye. All right. Do I have a motion to close the special meeting?
I'll make a motion to close the special meeting.
Do I have a second? All right. Did everyone indicate their approval by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Okay, special board meeting is closed. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and open up the call to order our Truth in Budgeting hearing as it relates to the proposed 24-25 budget. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Could I have a roll call, please, Secretary Pastana?
Yes, Mr. President. I am present. Ms. Grzymkowski.
Here.
Mr. Dimick. Oh, he's not here? Miss Ryan.
Here.
Miss Dodd.
Here.
Miss Cotter.
Here.
And Mr. Wiseman.
Here. Everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, could I have a motion to approve the agenda for the Truth in Budget hearing?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion moved by Member Dodd, seconded by Member Pastana. Could I have a roll call, please?
Miss Dodd.
Yes.
I am a yes. Miss Grzymkowski.
Yes.
Miss Cotter.
Yes.
Miss Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Dimick.
Yes.
Mr. Wiseman.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Next on the agenda for our budget hearing is the actual Truth in Budget hearing. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Sly. After that, I will ask if anyone has any comments to make, not only from the Board of Education, but from the public that is here tonight, specifically on the budget. Dr. Sly?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would invite Mr. Van Gotham to the podium. As you know, Mr. Van Gotham is our Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations to walk you through the budget.
Thank you, Dr. Salah. Good evening, board members, members of the community in person and online. This is the Truth in Budget hearing, so I'm going to go through our proposed 24-25 budget that the board will have before it tonight in the regular scheduled board meeting to approve for the next fiscal year. So the budget process is pretty extensive. Really, it's throughout the year that we discuss the budget. We really talk about preliminary budget projections as early as about 6 months ago. We gather input regarding the budget. We obviously develop some recommendations. We discussed those recommendations. We had a budget work session approximately 3 weeks ago. And then ultimately this evening in the regular board meeting, we're going to ask the board to approve a budget. This is the general fund budget. That's the main operating fund for the school district, where most of our activity takes place with respect to budgets. And for the 24-25 year, we are asking the board to approve $107.5 million in revenue and $111.7 million in expenditures, for expenditures over revenue of $4.2 million. We project a fund balance to be about $6.6 million after that, which is about 8% of unrestricted revenue, which is the classification that the state of Michigan requires us to provide to our board as well as to the community, and that is what we're presenting this evening. We're going to talk a little bit about revenue. The biggest ticket items, there's obviously the state source revenue, the per pupil foundation, so the dollars that we receive per student educated, as well as the total number of students that we have in the district. So we are proposing a modest $210 per pupil increase in foundation allowance, and we are actually reducing our student count by about 200, by exactly 200 students, which again is primarily due to birth rate. That's pretty consistent throughout the district, the county, and the state of Michigan, and really nationally as far as just number of students who are attending schools and number of births that are happening in comparison to prior years. We do show some additional money in PA 18 funding and some slight increases in property taxes and early childhood revenue, but the state revenue is the big driver of increases and decreases in revenue from year to year. This shows a historical pupil count for the district. So again, in 2023-24, the current fiscal year we're in right now, we have 7,816 students. We are asking the board to approve a budget based on 7,616 students, a 200 student loss from last year. This is a slide showing basically 2 years ago's allocated expenses, but the most recent data collected by the state of Michigan, which shows the Michigan, Oakland County, and HVS average expenditures per pupil. And it just shows the various classifications with which our money is being spent. And so we talked about this in pretty good length at our budget work session, but you can see the classifications of expenses. It's important to note that Huron Valley Schools is one of a handful of districts in the state of Michigan that does not privatize any of its classifications. And when I say that, I'm specifically speaking about food service, maintenance and operations, and transportation. And so you can see when you're looking at the bottom there, our salaries and benefits are a higher percentage than the county and state average, and that's the primary driver of that. This is just a pie chart, basically showing the same 2022-23 general fund expenditures. And again, basic programs, added needs, pupil, instructional staff, all the big buckets are primarily classroom expenses, which as a district, that's our main priority, is obviously the classroom. This is a summary of the expenditures, not only for the rest of this fiscal year 23-24, but the $111.7 million that we discussed on the first slide. And again, that's primarily driven from instruction expenses, the first line that you see up there, which is over 64, almost $65 million of that number. When we talk about the assumptions and the expenses from year to year, from 23-24 to 24-25, the biggest increase is negotiated contracts. So all of our staff is under contract through 26/30/24, but our teaching staff, our principals, administration, those contracts expire at the end of 24-25. So this is a projected expected increase as a result of the raises we provided our staff in the last round of contract negotiations. Obviously, there's health insurance costs that increase from year to year. And then we have some decreases based on, FTE adjustments based on number of students, and then some classification reductions in transportation and maintenance and operations, most specifically. So again, this is the general fund budget. And again, this is the same slide as the first slide I presented, again, showing $107.5 million in revenue and $111.7 million in expenditures, ending the year at approximately 8% general fund balance as of 24-25. We have other funds that are also a part of the school district. So while we have over $100 million in our general fund, we have, approximately $130 to $150 million on an annual basis that runs through Huron Valley Schools. And these are some of the other budgets that are not general funds. So debt service, which is basically paying our bond payments back from the community support that we've received over the last really 20 plus years. And we're showing a slight increase in that, just under $100,000. Building site sinking fund is another thing that was asked of the community and approved. And so we're showing revenue and over expenditures of a flat amount. Capital projects is just money we're gonna spend over the next year approximately on the capital projects, the bond projects that we ultimately had passed in the 2019 bond. The bonds were sold in 2023, and the monies will be used in the 24-25 school year. We also have the special revenue funds. So these are community service, community and rec ed, food service, our International Academy West, and then activity funds, which are anything that the schools do above and beyond what we provide in our general or operating funds. So you can think of like clubs and some of the activities that happen in school that are above and beyond what we do with our general fund, and we're showing, again, pretty flat amounts in all of those categories year over year. And so that's the end of the presentation for you this evening, members of the board.
Thank you very much, Mr. Van Gothen. I know we received and you presented to us at our last board meeting, and we've had opportunities to discuss this even further at our finance and operations, exec meetings, and our teaching and learning committees. Does anybody on the board have any questions or comments? Yes, Amy?
Thank you, Mr. Van Gotham, for putting this together for us. I think it's important to note that although we have a very good handle on what our expenses are going to be for 24-25, because we do not know what our legislature is going to provide to us with respect to our foundation allowance, nor do we have our count that will happen in October, the revenue is unclear at this point. Can you tell us how you went about, just for our listening audience, how you went about calculating? And I know that you take a very conservative, almost, dare I say it, a worst-case scenario approach to this, but can you give us some feedback as to how you go about that?
Yes, so with respect to the per pupil, we receive the 3 different chambers of the state legislature, so the executive, which is the governors, and then the Senate and the House budgets. They offer a preliminary budget and they come up with a per pupil amount. So we actually take as a starting point those 3 budgets and budget below all 3 of those, which again, we don't anticipate that that's actually going to be the case, but when we provide you a budget, we need to make sure that the expenses that we're providing and the revenue makes sense. So we, as a result, again, you're thinking to yourself, why would you ask to have a budget approved of $4 million in expenses over revenue? That was planned. So we've had a healthy fund balance, and we were blessed with some additional dollars, unfortunately as a result of COVID, and fortunately as a result of some of the decisions that the board has made. So that's put us in a position where we knew that we wanted to spend some money on our staff to make sure we were paying, as best as we could on wages. So to answer that question, that's why we're asking for a budget that's really expenses over revenue. But in that revenue number, which is really what you were asking, the per pupil is, in my opinion, very reasonable and should only go up once the state ultimately approves it. But then I also rely on colleagues, so I've been doing this presentation for about 7 or 8 years, and so I've created a network of people within Oakland County and really the state of Michigan that I rely on for really just, what's your number gonna be? And because, like you said, we do not have a budget from the state of Michigan, it's really challenging to guess, but we can take a good idea of it. The per pupil, we were fortunate enough, we had strategic plan 2.0 this year, and part of that work was really looking at the number of students we had so that we can make smart decisions about where we wanted to head going forward with our resources as well as our infrastructure. And so we were provided, a very high level projection that included student count. And again, we're going below that, or even a worst case scenario on top of what they provided us, which is again a conservative number. So last year, again, we had a 200 student loss and ended up with like 73. So again, our numbers so far are pretty good for incoming classes, and we're hopeful that that number will be better than expected. But again, asking the board to approve something on June 10th, when you need to approve it by June, the end of the month, and not having a budget from the state of Michigan is really just a guess. But we've been blessed that we've done the right thing, I think, in the last several years at Huron Valley. And when it comes to the actual budget, the goal when we provide updates to the community in about 3 or 4 months here is that we show additional revenue and additional students from this number that I'm asking you to approve. So yes, I would consider this a bottom base projection, if you will. Obviously, circumstances and things can change, I can't predict, but we have a pretty good feeling as a result of the work we've done over the last several years. And I have a rock star team too that supports us from the business office that double and triple checks everything. We go out to our network of people and make sure that really when we present this to you, this isn't just put something together over the weekend and hope the board approves. This is months and months, if not years and years of supportive data that comes up with these numbers that you see tonight.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Any other questions of the board? During our regular board meeting, after this truth and hearing, we will have under a unfinished business the approval of this budget for 24-25. So at this point in time, is there any questions as it relates to the truth and budget? Seeing none, I will adjourn this meeting and immediately go to our regular board meeting. And I'm going to call that to order. With that, could I have a roll call as it relates to our regular board meeting? Secretary Pastana.
Ms. Grisomkowski.
Here.
Mr. Dimick.
Here.
Ms. Ryan.
Here.
Ms. Dodd.
Here.
Ms. Cotter.
Here.
I am here. Mr. Wiseman.
Here. Could I have a
Present,
recommendation to approve the agenda as posted and listed?
Sure. I move that the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented.
And do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Member Dimick. Could I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Dimick.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Grisomkowski.
Yes.
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter will be back. And Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next on the agenda is items from the board president. A couple things that I do have. One, I would like to do a shout out to all of our graduating seniors. This past week has been a significant event in our seniors' lives, where we've had graduation of Lakeland High School students, seniors, Milford High School, the International Academy, along with Harbor High School, our high school students there, along with our adult education. So congratulations to all. Congratulations to all of our students who are winding down the 23-24 school year with a full day tomorrow and a half a day on Wednesday. So as my grandchildren say, we get 2 more days of getting up in the morning. So I said, well, you'll get up in the morning on Thursday. He said, yeah, but we're going to be doing some other things. So congratulations to everyone. The other comment that I want to make is I do have several citizen participation forms. As a school board, we appreciate the members of our community who share their public comments during the designated times of our meeting. This is an important opportunity for the Board of Education to hear from the community. However, it is not a time for a two-way communication. A regular meeting of the Board of Education is designated for the board to conduct the business of the Huron Valley Schools in open session in accordance with the Open Meeting Act. Comments that require follow-up investigation or communication will be handled by the superintendent or a member of his team. There are 2 segments in the agenda for public comments in Section 3 and 7 respectively. 15 minutes have been allocated in Section 3 for public comments related to action, voting items, or non-action items if time allows. The Board of Education will allocate more than 15 minutes allocated in Section 3 so that all public comments on action or voting items may be heard in Section 3 prior to the board voting on those items. All comments on non-action items will take place during Section 7 of the agenda, if not already heard in Section 3. All speakers wishing to address the board must be present, and all individuals will be given an opportunity to speak. Each individual delivering public comments will have 3 minutes to share their communication. Individuals may only speak once and cannot share unused time with another person, per board policy. A timer will be displayed on the screen so individuals can monitor their time. Once 3 minutes have elapsed, a timer will sound indicating their public comments have been concluded, and the microphone will be turned off in preparation for the next speaker. The individual must be present, as I said before, to share those public comments. We ask that you share your name, address, and home school district before sharing your comments. Furthermore, we request that you refrain from name-calling or mentioning the names of specific employees, persons, or students within your public comments. If you make such comments, I, as the board president, reserve the right, consistent with the Open Meeting Act, to interrupt or end the comment time for that individual. If you plan to share public comments, please complete the form that's in the back of the room and give your form to Ms. Cadell, seating to my far left. Thank you for your professionalism, your cooperation, your communication, and your partnership. With that, we'll go to the next item, which is recognition. Dr. Salah, Huron Valley highlights.
Thank you, and I will invite Ms. Rothler to the podium.
Good evening. As we wind down yet another school year, it makes perfect sense to highlight one of our educators who has taken a program offered here at Huron Valley Schools and has truly made it a lifeline for many of our families. I would like to invite Jennifer Bjorkman, our Director of State and Federal Programs and School Improvement, up now as she talks about tonight's Huron Valley Hero. And while she is doing that, if Vice President Laura Dodd could join us as well and give our recipient a token of appreciation.
And we'd like to ask Jill McDonald to join us at the podium. Thank you. Just come join us. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, Central Office Administrative Team, educators, community members, family members, and friends. Today we gather to honor Jill McDonald and celebrate her remarkable career as she has left an indelible mark on our educational community. As Jill embarks on her well-deserved retirement journey, it is with great admiration and heartfelt gratitude that we reflect on her years of dedicated service to Huron Valley Schools. Jill's journey with HVS began as an assistant principal at Lakeland High School, where her passion for education and unwavering commitment to student success illuminated her path from the onset. Over time, Jill assumed pivotal roles such as assistant principal at White Lake Middle School, principal of Oxbow Elementary, published author, and art teacher at Milford High School and Oak Valley, spreading her enthusiasm for teaching and learning throughout all of Huron Valley during her tenure. However, today, I'd like to talk to you about her role as the ESL coordinator for Huron Valley Schools that Jill created a transformational change for us. Prior to Jill taking the position of the EL coordinator, Huron Valley was receiving an influx of EL students and was struggling to find ways to meet their needs. EL students are English learner students. Over the past 6 years, Jill has been at the forefront of a transformative shift in our approach to English learner education, leading us to a teacher-led program allowing our EL students to receive support from the highest qualified teachers receiving an ESL endorsement. Jill worked hard to provide professional learning opportunities to our paraeducators and teachers, developed strategies to use our grant funds to continue to help our staff receive additional training and allow them to earn that ESL endorsement. She created summer programs, tutoring opportunities, and a newcomer program, all with a collaboration of her team. Her tireless efforts have not merely ensured compliance, but has significantly enhanced outcomes for our EL students and their families. Through her visionary leadership, Jill has fostered a culture of continuous growth and celebration, building that cohesive team and implementing high-quality programming that has become the hallmark of our ESL initiatives. This year, 100% of our EL seniors at both Milford and Lakeland High School have received their diploma. This is a testament to the programming for our students created by Jill and our EL team. This is a huge milestone to be celebrated. Moreover, Jill's commitment to excellence is exemplified by her creation of a comprehensive EL handbook, her culmination of countless hours spent collaborating with our EL community. Her family can attest to the many hours Jill spends over and above her workday to make sure the end product is top-notch. This labor of love not only showcases Jill's exceptional work ethic, but also her desire to ensure a seamless transition for the next leader of our ESL program. This handbook and all of Jill's work was recognized during our successful Title III EL audit, which received high praise from the audit team at the Michigan Department of Education. As Jill bids farewell to her role within our school community, she leaves behind a legacy of excellence and unwavering dedication. Jill also leaves big shoes to fill. Jill has built an amazing community by honoring and respecting everyone she encounters. Jill is extremely thoughtful and never misses a moment to celebrate the accomplishments of her team and our students. Her kindness radiates to everyone she meets. Her tokens of appreciation, which all of our EL educators and paras team often receive throughout the year, are beyond thoughtful and honor the work of her team. Though her presence will be sorely missed, her impact will continue to resonate and inspire us for years to come. Jill, on behalf of all of us gathered here today and countless others whose lives you have touched throughout your career, we extend our deepest gratitude and warmest wishes for a retirement filled with joy, love, and boundless opportunities for new adventures. Thank you, Jill.
So I've known Jill since I was a teen, and Jill and my sister had their first teaching jobs together way a long time ago. And I actually asked them to send me where you've been, because you've been all over the valley. And when we talk about inspiring and building futures one student at a time on the back of the coin, you've inspired and built thousands of students during your career. And I know this was Act 1. And that Act 2, you will be in inspiring and building more futures just somewhere other than here on Valley. So on behalf of the board, give you our nice little certificate and our challenge coin, because you have definitely met the challenge of doing all the things we do here in the Valley, and a little pouch for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jill.
I did not prepare anything. It has been my privilege to do this. That's all. Yeah, so, I'm gonna get a picture.
Any other additional comments from the board? Yes, Lindsay.
Jill, I just want you to know, you've worn many hats in this district, and they've all fit you very well.
Thanks.
You certainly have been an asset, and you will be missed.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you've done.
Thanks.
Any other comments? I just want to say thank you, Joe, on behalf of the Board of Education and all the lives that you've have such a positive impact on, and the gift that you've given continues to grow and grow and multiply. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
I know Jill has some family members here, so if we can get Jill and her family along with the board to take a quick picture.
Yep. They didn't know they had to do that, I know.
Come on.
Next on the agenda is school presentations, Country Oaks Elementary. Dr. Salah.
Thank you. And this evening, to kick us off for Country Oaks Elementary, we have the proud principal of Country Oaks Elementary, Mr. Gary Hamilton.
All right, just like the PA system at school every morning. I do some great announcements without the PA on a number of occasions, right, Mrs. Ciancio? Yeah. So good evening, and thank you for inviting us tonight. My name is Gary Hamilton. Like Dr. Salah said, I am the proud principal of Country Oaks Elementary. And is Jill still here? Jill, I'm going to take this moment, this teachable moment, to say I've so valued your friendship. Jill and I taught next to each other at Oak Valley. I taught 21st century skills, and Jill was teaching art next door. She quickly learned that Mr. Hamilton has no art skill at all. But you have been an inspiration to me. You've been a mentor. We've talked a lot. I think we talk more now than when we were colleagues in the same building. So, and supporting our students in our building is an understatement. You've done a fantastic job choreographing all of the supports for our EL students. So thank you, and congratulations, and we will miss you. So at Country Oaks Elementary, our motto is one team, one goal, no limits. And tonight we're going to introduce to you the newest member of our Country Oaks team. I'm excited and happy to announce that tonight we have named Molly as our social emotional learning dog and will be added to the Country Oaks roster for the 24-25 school year. We all know when we see a little doggy, our voices go up about 10 octaves higher. We smile, we become present in the moment, and we become engaged. There's plenty of research about the bond between humans and dogs showing us that a canine companion can improve our moods, reduce our blood pressure, and actually lower the level of stress hormones in our body. Research has shown us that just by looking into the eyes of a dog, I wear progressive glasses, and this is not cool. Because I'm not used to them, so if I seem like I'm wobbling up here, it's because of my glasses. Looking into the eyes of a dog, we can boost the levels of our oxytocin, which is a hormone associated with the feelings of love and trust. And really, that's what we want in our schools after all, love and trust. We know there's nothing better than the unconditional love we get from our four-legged friends. At the Hamilton House, we have two four-legged friends, a very smart and opinionated miniature poodle. And we also have a golden doodle puppy who loves everything and everybody, and let's just say might have some difficulty hiding her excitement. Dogs help us laugh, they help us cry, they help us heal, they calm us down, they love us unconditionally. When I come home from work each night, my dogs are way happier to see me than the rest of my family. They love the love dogs give us is not only unconditional, it's predictable, which means always. And their love is real. I've done some research, and I know when Mrs. Grismkowski comes home, she has a four-legged friend by the name of Winter. Is that not true? And I'm guessing it's because your favorite season is winter? I didn't think so. Mrs. Dodd has two dogs. She has Grace and Finnick. Sounds like a name or a title for a play. How fitting. Then there's Mrs. Ryan's dog, Bear. Bear is either really big or ironically really small. The latter? In the middle. I knew you were going to say that. I thought I had that one pegged. Mrs. Pastana has two furry friends, Bentley and Bowser. She's also had, it's been rumored, a previous dog by the name of Hamilton that was named after the play, not the principal. Mr. Dimmick's dog's name is Hunter. I'm guessing a hunting dog? Yes. See, all right, the obvious doesn't always escape me. That's good. And Mrs. Cotter recently had Teddy and Greta as her trusted friends, who I hear meant an awful lot to you. Mr. Wiseman doesn't have any dogs yet, but I'm guessing some grand dogs?
I have a grand dog, golden retriever, Tilly, that keeps me quite occupied during the day.
All right. I pegged that one. Yes. Dr. Slaz over there worrying. I know he is. Yeah, he is. I'm not gonna. I would be so disappointed in myself if I didn't talk to you about Dr. Slaz's dog Murphy. Let's just say we have an annual event at Dr. Slaz's house, and there's always a nice array of food and well displayed. Great presentation of cheese the one year, and let's just say that perhaps Murphy the dog might have taste tested the cheese. One of my biggest regrets in life is I couldn't get my phone out fast enough to snap a picture of it. But nonetheless, Murphy, I know, means a lot to you. So as I mentioned tonight, you're going to meet our newest teammate, Molly. Molly has already been coming to Country Oaks. She's completing her training. She's learning our students. And to be honest, Molly has already made a profound impact. I am here tonight with a bunch of team members, and I'm going to have them wave. Oh, look, it works. All right. I'm here with a plethora of people. We have Kristen Tesaro. Just wave when she's waving in the back. She is our PBIS paraprofessional. Carol Peters is not here tonight. They're doing another board meeting in Clarkston for another therapy dog. Christy from Campus Canines, back over there. We have Lisa Phillips, our PTA board president. We have Coriel Fisher, our second grade student. Wave. There we go, yes. We have Emma Phillips, a fifth grade student. Caden Rennie, a 5th grade student. Joey Tesero, kindergarten student extraordinaire. We have Hayden Shaw, and we have Remy Shaw. We have Lucas Sancio. We have Molly. We haven't taught her how to wave yet, but she is in the house. So they're all here to help present the new adventures of Molly and Oakley, who is our team mascot. So we're going to introduce Molly. We have a one sheet for Molly to get to know Molly a little bit better. I will invite my part of my team to come up and do their presentation.
Today we'd like to introduce you to Molly, our newest staff member at school. Molly will begin her role as our COE, Social Emotional Learning Dog, next school year.
Now for a little one sheet information from Coriel. I have a little ladder for you. I feel ya. I know, I get it. All right.
Molly is 3 years old. She is a fox red lab. Her favorite toy is an orange moo cow stuffy she got from her host family. Her favorite treat is cheese bakery pizza, or her heart treats. Her favorite hobby is cuddling. Her two best friends are Henry the dog and Oakley the lion. This is her first job and she is excited.
Molly wants to work for HBS because she wants to make a difference in the lives of the students and staff at Country Oaks. She hopes to have a positive impact on all the humans at Country Oaks. Her favorite song is Good Golly Miss Molly by Little Richard. Molly's favorite quote is, "Every snack you make, every meal you bake, every bite you take, I'll be watching you, especially if it's cheese," by Murphy the dog. Thanks to the kind support of LaFontaine Automotive Group, we were chosen to receive Molly as a wonderful gift. She has been lovingly raised and trained by campus canines.
That's you. Yeah, and I'll introduce you. This is Christy from Campus Canines, and she is remarkable. So is her husband, Tom. Very intentional. She'll explain to you the difference between a social and emotional learning dog and a therapy dog. And the thing that impressed me the most is that she's very targeted with who she wants the dog with, what school she wants the dog in, because we all know dogs have different temperaments, so do principals. Having said that, very much interested in making sure the dog gets what he or she needs, and the building does as well.
Hi, good evening. I am Christy Green, and we started our program as Green Acres Labradors, and we've been doing this for about 10 years. My husband and I saw the need for dogs in schools, and we recently started a nonprofit organization called Campus Canines. We have been very, very fortunate to have donors and sponsors like LaFontaine Automotive Group, who have sponsored several dogs. They've done some dogs for Waterford, Clarkston, and for Huron Valley Schools. They have really worked with us, and with them by our side, we are able to do really great things, and we're hoping to expand this program even more. So one of the things that Gary asked me to talk about with you tonight was the difference between a therapy dog and a social emotional learning dog. These guys are not therapy dogs. And the clarification is, if you were to certify a therapy dog, it is one dog and one handler. And the way our program is designed is that we have multiple handlers working with one dog within a building. So there are several people handling the dog throughout the day. And so what we pride ourselves in is actually training the handlers and training the school. We work really, really closely with the schools to make sure that the dog is a good fit for the school, that the handlers are good fit, and that most importantly, our host home is a good fit. And so when we selected Oak Valley, or it's Oak Valley, right? I almost said Country Oaks.
Yes.
Oak Valley's the middle school. I'm sorry.
I do that all the time, and I work there.
Yeah, so when we selected Country Oaks, we were given 3 schools to choose from, and we were really, really impressed with the way that they presented their plan to us. And so that was really, really important when we were choosing our school. And I want to share a little bit with you. So we started as we were breeding dogs, and we have now, because we have grown so much, we have several breeders throughout the country reaching out to us and wanting to partner with us to provide dogs for schools as well. And so Molly actually came from New Hampshire. Molly was a retired breeding dog, and the breeder that had her, like us, they only have 2 litters and then they place their dogs. And so we were given the opportunity to take Molly and provide some training for her. She's been great, and we're looking forward to seeing her doing great things. And I just want to share one story. I have so many stories, and once your dogs are in your district, you will see so many stories. But we have a particular student in South Lyon Schools who she came into the district unwilling to walk. She was a special ed student. She did not want to walk at all for anybody. And they started using their dog, whose name is Hattie, to walk with that student every day. And she started walking with a walker. That was at the beginning of the school year. She is now walking without a walker with the dog every day at school. And then one more story I'd like to share. We have a young man in Clarkston Schools who didn't want to read. He was afraid to read. He didn't want to read to anybody. They brought the dog in, and he told us when we were doing some interviews of our students at their schools that Missy gives him superpowers. And when Missy is with him, he is able to read. And so those are just a couple stories. I have many, many stories. I would encourage you to check out our website. It's campuscanines.com. There are some videos on there. We didn't share them tonight because some of the students are super soft-spoken and we were afraid you wouldn't be able to hear it. But I would really encourage you to just take a look. There's an administrator perspective, a teacher perspective, and a student perspective. So thank you, and I really have enjoyed working with your district. So thank you very much.
My only request is that Molly, can Molly give me superpowers? Molly, can you give me, okay, I'm very literal. I'm going to turn the mic over to Kristen Cicero. She is our PBIS paraprofessional who really orchestrated all of this. It was a process. It required applications. It required, I'll let her tell you what it required. I don't want to take her words away from her, but I'm going to turn it over to you with knowing that she is the chief person in charge of being able to land Molly in our building. So Kristen, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening. As Mr. Hamilton said, my name is Kristen Tesaro, and I am the PBIS paraprofessional at Country Oaks. When Mr. Hamilton called me into his office at the beginning of this year, I was a little bit hesitant because he is the scary principal of the building. But I did go in, and he told me that the good news was Huron Valley had decided to partner with LaFontaine Automotive to do a social and emotional learning dog program. He spoke to me about it first because I had been politely nagging him about the benefits of a social and emotional learning dog. So he called me in and asked if I would be willing to be the person that filled out the application. And before asking my husband, I said an immediate yes. And went about the process. As Mr. Hamilton said, it was a bit of a process. We filled out a full application. answering lots of detailed questions about myself, my background, my family. One of them is sitting on the floor right now next to Molly, and just about our home. And one thing that we wanted to do was, of course, make sure that our PTA supported this initiative. And of course, with the amazing help of Mrs. Phillips and her commitment letter and her pledge of support, we, of course, went forward with the application. I wanted our application to stand out above the rest in hopes that we would be the first school selected. So we had several students, sorry Christy, probably over 100 students write letters that they then had to read and go through. So I'm actually going to have a few of my friends come forward to read just a few of those letters. I'm going to have Emma Phillips, Caden Rennie, and Lucas Ciencio come up. They are our 5th grade friends at Country Oaks.
Dear Grant Committee, I am a student at Country Oaks Elementary School. I believe that the students at my school would benefit from having a therapy dog here each day. Country Oaks is the biggest elementary school in the district, so we have a lot more kids that would love to have a therapy dog. It could help a lot of kids focus, stay calm, and want to come to school each day. When Rosie the dog came into our school, she made a lot of kids happy. Thank you, Emma Phillips.
Dear Grant Committee, I am a student at Country Oaks Elementary School. I think that the students would love to have a dog because kids would want to come to school to learn with the dog or read to the dog. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Sincerely, Lucas Ciencio.
This letter was written by a student at Country Oaks Elementary School. Dear Grand Committee, nice and cute and maybe even fluffy therapy dogs would be nice to have at my school because sometimes I can't think. Maybe if I had a therapy dog, I would be calmer and able to think better. I had a dog that used to bite me, and so I'm afraid of vicious dogs, but not cute and fluffy and nice dogs. So please make sure your fingers are crossed and that the dog is nice.
Thank you, guys. So after submitting our application, my commitment to Huron Valley and Country Oaks especially was submitted, and ultimately after a home visit and interview, we were selected. And after a nice scream in the office that probably scared Miss Gina and others in the building, I was thrilled to find out, and I'm not going to get emotional, maybe I will, that we were selected to add a social and emotional learning dog to our pride. And so I cannot wait. This summer we will be doing more in-person trainings, some virtual trainings, so I can be the best host family for her. We have an amazing team, a part of us at Country Oaks that will be partnering also with me. And I just can't thank the district enough and LaFontaine Automotive enough for selecting us, and we hope to make you proud. I know she's excited, so thank you very much.
I didn't mention my second dog's name. It would be Luna. I also call her Looney, named after the Canadian currency, loonies. It was a free dog. No, it wasn't. Because we don't have pet insurance. And the responsibility of having a dog is immense and it's expensive. And the initial, obligation from LaFontaine Motors is a ginormous advantage to have. The generosity of initiating this program in our building is beyond what words can explain. So I truly thank LaFontaine for making tonight and the next 5 years very, very possible. But we also have, partnerships, because it does take a village. Audie's House is going to work with us. She's also a parent in our building and a former student of mine. There's a lot of them as of late. She will be taking care of the dog grooming for Molly. We have Girls on the Run, which those of you who know, It's an organization run through the Y. We have girls running in the morning as their fundraiser this year. They were able to raise a lot of money for our dog to be able to have a bed and to have all of the supplies. You need 2 of everything. And then Milford Veterinary Clinic, I'll give a special shout out to as well. Dr. Clark over there has been our vet for many, many years. And when they called up and asked if he would be willing to sponsor our dog, completely and totally and utterly all in. So again, it takes a village, and here's our main takers as well as PTA. We have Oakley the Lion there. The PTA, when they heard about this especially, it was like, yes, we're all in completely. So I'm very grateful that we have a village to take care of not only our staff and our students, but also our new four-legged friend, Molly. Sure.
We want to express our gratitude to our sponsors, especially the LaFontaine Automotive Group and the Tesaro family. Without LaFontaine's very generous sponsorship, having Molly at our school would not be possible. We would also like to give a special thank you to the Tesaro family who have generously volunteered to care for Molly.
With their help, along with contributions from the COE PTA, Milford Vet Clinic, Audie's House Dog Grooming, and the Country Oaks Girls on the Run team, we were able to provide Molly with the necessary care she needs. Finally, we want to thank Campus Canines for supporting our school and sharing Molly with us. Molly hasn't even started yet, but she's already made a positive impact on our school. Thank you to everyone who has made this dream of having a social-emotional learning dog at our school a reality.
And that concludes for this evening's presentation. We have updated our motto. We are now one team, one dog. No limits. Thank you, everybody.
Fine. Anyone have any questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much for the presentation. We will adjourn for going a short recess. Molly and the rest of you could stay, but you certainly are excused absence. You may leave if you'd like, but you can stay if you wish. So with that, we'll go into a short recess. Next on the agenda is Superintendent's Communication. Dr. Slah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. That was a wonderful Country Oaks Elementary presentation. They did a fantastic job. I've got a couple of updates this evening. First, I wanted to share with our community, our listening audience, those who are at home watching this presentation. We just recently finished our 2023-2024 security assessment audit. For those of you who are familiar with our practice, since the unfortunate Oxford tragedy, we have brought in Recon Management LLC to do a walkthrough of our buildings and look at our district protocols related to safety and security. And they just recently finished that. Very good feedback for us to consider. A couple things that I will share here with the community. Placement of exterior signs indicating visitor expectations was one thing to share, including, so now fortunately, since we've passed bonds recently, we do have surveillance on the exterior of all of our buildings. There are some spots where we need to add additional cameras, where we have some dark spots, and we will be adding that, fortunately, now that we've passed the most recent bond. And we will add signage on the exterior of our buildings to let people know that our buildings are being monitored 24/7. Some good kudos on our visitor management protocols, that we are following best practices related to visitor management protocols. That, again, good kudos regarding the fact that we have buzzer-type access and at all of our entry points within the district as well. There are a couple of policies that they are suggesting that we look at, and for our Board of Education, we've shared this report at least one or two committees. It will go to all of the other committees. For our community, just so you're aware, we do not share the report publicly. This is for internal consumption as it relates to our safety and security protocols, and that's just not something that we would broadcast far and wide. Thank you to our buildings, our building principals. This can be somewhat of a stressful thing for our principals, because we do not let them know when Recon will be walking our facilities. And that's not to be an I gotcha, but it is to say that we take the school safety and security of our buildings very serious, and we want to ensure that what we do sometimes is what we do all of the time. And so our principals make sure that that is happening. A couple other things, it is graduation season. We've seen now Lakeland High School, Milford High School, as well as our International Academy West and our Harbor High School and our adult education programs all walk across the stage. We are incredibly proud of our students. And so I did have an opportunity last week, Friday, to send a communication out to our families celebrating some of the accolades of our students. And I just want to spend just a couple of minutes on that communication. There were actually two aspects to that communication. One was celebrating the great work of our graduates, and the second was providing an update to the community regarding the ongoing police investigation regarding allegations at Spring Mills Elementary School. And so I just want to speak to those two items specifically under my superintendent remarks. So first and foremost, of our graduating class, and these numbers are just astounding and they're incredibly impressive, 254 of our graduating seniors graduated with honors at Lakeland and Milford High School. And that's almost 50% of our entire graduating class, which is absolutely tremendous. And it's a testament to the teachers that we have. It's a testament to the students that we have and the families that work very hard to help their students to be successful. Of that 254 students, 102 earned a cumulative GPA of a 4.0 or higher, which is just incredible when you think about the totality of the graduating class. And so just incredibly proud of all of our graduates. I know that there are going to be many celebrations and graduation parties over the course of the summer, and I just encourage everyone to be safe and responsible as our seniors celebrate. So second item I wanted to touch on is some of the information regarding to the most recent Spring Mills guest teacher update. And so there have been 4 communications sent thus far to the community, one on April 22nd from the building, specifically to the Spring Mills community specifically. There was a communication sent on May 9th from the district based upon the information that we had at the time. Another communication went out on May 24th, specifically offering the phone number of our Student Services Department for anyone that was looking for or needed support and wanted that support outside of the building specifically. And then most recently on June 7th, which was last Friday, several important themes that I just want to touch upon for our community and listening audience, those who did not see that communication or did not read it. So specifically, and this is of utmost importance, I cannot underline or underscore this point enough. I understand that there is a desire in the community to know more, to know and understand the finite details to a greater degree. And I understand that, I really do. But I have to emphasize that the Huron Valley Schools can only share what it can share. And the most important thing that we can do and that we have been doing is cooperate fully with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. We've provided access to several documents and key information and data that the Oakland County Sheriff's Department has requested. It is essential for us as a school district to support the Oakland County Sheriff's Department in any way that they request of us, but it would not be appropriate for us to impede that investigation by saying something preemptively or out of line. And we want to make certain that we are very careful not to do something that we shouldn't do that could in some way, shape, or form jeopardize the work that they're doing. HVS nor local law enforcement, I mentioned this in the letter, neither HVS nor local law enforcement have named the individual involved in this specific situation. I realize the name is out there. We are being very deliberate about not releasing any specific information or the name of the individual because to date, what has been shared has not been shared by any official source. So when the information becomes public and local law enforcement shares it, we have no issues putting that information out there, and we will put that information out there. Our Student Services Department phone number has been shared widely in multiple communications. I just want to give that number out for anybody that is interested or would like that phone number. That phone number is 248-684-8228. There's access to school social work support, and we are there to provide any other information that we can related to needs or support that's requested. I have taken the action as superintendent to add some additional supports at Spring Mills Elementary School. For example, you see these folks here sitting to the left. They are our COAT team, our administrative team. They have been at Spring Mills frequently over the last couple of weeks, in the morning at drop-off, in the afternoon at pickup, just to be an extra set of hands for anything that the building might need. We've also added Mr. Martin Kay as an additional adult support at the building. He's been there every single day since May 28th. Mr. Kay is a longtime educator, has provided support in the profession for over 30 years, and he's been an outstanding addition at Spring Mills Elementary School. Also took action to reassign Rosie. We heard one of our kiddos mention loving Rosie visiting Country Oaks. Permanently assigned Rosie at Spring Mills Elementary School for the remainder of the school year, and Rosie has been a tremendous comfort and an asset to the entire building there. And also, I think of particular importance, the communication on Friday included a frequently asked questions document. So again, there's There's a number of hyperlinks within the communication that went out. There's a hyperlink in the first paragraph to the original communication that came out from the district. There's a hyperlink to our district website. And then there's a hyperlink to the frequently asked questions document that I just referenced. I just want to take a couple minutes. I think it's prudent to walk through the frequently asked questions document because I believe it highlights many of the key questions that we've heard over the course of the last month or so. First question is, what is the Huron Valley Schools protocol for allegations of misconduct? The response, and I'm not going to read the entire thing, but high level, as soon as the school district learns about allegations, we take immediate steps to prevent any further interaction with that accused individual. And we did that in this specific case, and we work very closely with law enforcement to provide them any information that they need or require in order to help them move their investigation along. That has been ongoing, and it will continue in an unfettered fashion. Second question on the FAQ, is the individual working with HVS while under investigation? The short answer to that is no, and there's some additional verbiage there. Third question, realizing you are unable to disclose details, what will happen in this case? Response, due to privacy laws to protect all involved and the importance of ensuring that we do not interfere with the investigation, we would encourage anyone that has questions, concerns, or information about the current situation to please contact the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. Next question, is HVS providing care for those who have been affected by the situation? When allegations arise that impact our students, Huron Valley Schools take steps to protect their privacy while providing resources and additional support as needed and requested by those impacted. And again, I mentioned the phone number, which I will read again, 248-684-8228. Next question we've heard, who is EduStaff and what do they do? EduStaff is provides temporary workers for public education. We use EduStaff for medium to long-term and often instances short-term positions. EduStaff is a third-party K-12 substitute staffing agency. They serve school districts across much of Southeast Michigan, and I believe they actually have services outside of Southeast Michigan, but I don't know exactly what that is. I'm sure you could go on their website and get more specifics and details regarding EduStaff. The next question in our FAQ, are background checks done on third-party contract employees? The short answer is yes. Third-party contractors have to follow the same state laws and federal laws as it relates to fingerprinting and background checks as any public school district. Next question that has been asked, are HVS students taught in school anything about appropriate touch or sexual misconduct, and at what grade level? We provided a hyperlink here in this FAQ specifically. We included the health curriculum that our school district utilizes. This is required by law to be taught according to Michigan state standards. If you're interested in more information, you can certainly check out this specific question in the FAQ. It provides you by grade level essential questions that teachers review and use when they're teaching. Also, another key word here or key phrase would be the Michigan Model for Health. That's what this curriculum is based upon. And then the final question, are there any resources I can use to discuss this situation with my child? We reference the Michigan Medicine here as one resource on 7 ways to talk with your child. There are many resources out there. Again, I would point you to that phone number, 248-684-8228. If that resource is not sufficient, or if you're looking for more or would like additional resources or information. So again, as I said, once law enforcement begins to release information publicly, that will give us a lot more latitude in terms of what we can put out there. We will update this FAQ as information becomes available to us and as we are able to drill down and share more specifics. So just again, congratulations to our graduates. We're extraordinarily proud of you and excited, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors as you enter the world of work, go to college, enter a skilled trades field, we know that you've been prepared and you're going to have a successful future. With that, that concludes my comments this evening, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salah. Next on the agenda is student leadership. We do not have any student leaders here today. I believe they've all graduated. But since our last meeting, I think it was our last meeting, we had an opportunity to honor those seniors. A number of us had breakfast with them. And we had an opportunity to sit around and have some eggs and scrambled eggs and bacon and have a real nice chat. Not only about what their future holds for them, but how we as a school district could get better and to provide input to us as it relates to some of their suggestions as we move forward, some of their experiences. It was an exciting morning. It was a great way to start the day with our student leaders. Our future is bright, and we certainly appreciate their work with us throughout the year because they are an integral part of our teaching, learning, and technology team. They met with us and provided input and direction, and they were invaluable. I would say they were priceless as it relates to that, and it's something that we do on an annual basis. We look forward to the new leadership team as we begin the 24-25 school year. So with that, next is association communication. Jennifer Hollander.
Good evening. Tonight, we are here to celebrate an incredible group of individuals, the 22 dedicated educators who are retiring this year from Huron Valley Schools. This cohort of educators combined has worked over 500 years in the field of education and has earned our deep respect through the days and weeks we have worked alongside them. For countless years, you've walked our halls, not just as educators, but as mentors, motivators, and our friends. You've created a spark for knowledge, worked patiently to explain complex ideas, and nurtured the talents of our students that will one day shape our world. The impact you've had stretches far beyond test scores and grades. Through the years, you've fostered a love of learning and curiosity. You've been there to celebrate your students' victories and have been that calm, supportive presence during their moments of struggle. Your Huron Valley colleagues and the Huron Valley community are grateful for your dedication, your passion, and depth of knowledge that has significantly impacted all of us. You are leaving an imprint that will forever remain. We celebrate each of you this evening. We are grateful you chose to build your careers in Huron Valley. We thank you for the passion you have brought to your jobs through the years and the wisdom you have imparted on all of us and your students. So as you end this chapter, we look forward to hearing about your next adventures as you discover new passions and explore outside the walls of our classrooms. But know this, however far you roam, you will always have a home in the Valley. Don't be a stranger. Come back to visit soon. Your next phenomenal journey awaits. So in honor of your retirement, tonight both the HVEA and the Board of Education would like to recognize you for your decades of service to Huron Valley Schools. So not everybody could be here, unfortunately, because we know they still have another day and a half. But for those of you who are here, when I call your name, can you come up? And as you could see, the board is ready for you. So you're going to come to me and get your certificate and then walk up to the board. Kathy Anderson from the International Academy West. Carol Barber, White Lake Middle School. Doug Burke, Highland Elementary. Mary Kay Coliani from Highland Elementary. Kelly Curtis, Muir Middle School. Megan Evans, Kurtz Elementary. Tammy Hyman, Country Oaks Elementary. Lori Gleason, Milford High School. Tara Johnson, International Academy. Rich Kynest, Milford High School. Lori Lottie, Lakeland High School. Linda Lujavic, Country Oaks. Wendy Nellis, Oak Valley. Jamie Page, Highland Elementary. Lori Rowley, Oak Valley Middle School. Julie Sheldon, Spring Mills Elementary. She's my birthday twin. We love her. Liz Smith, Milford High School. Jennifer Zamirsky, Highland Elementary. Debbie Warner, Country Oaks Elementary. Lori Worthington, Lakeland High School. And last but not least, for sure, Alice Yash, Country Oaks. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, before you all sit down, we're just going to grab a quick picture with each of you and the board.
Just like I did with Country Oaks and Molly, you certainly are invited to stay for the rest of the meeting, but there is still 1.5 days left, and you have to get up bright and early tomorrow, so you are certainly excused, and we'll go into a short recess. On the agenda is board correspondence. Secretary Pastana, do you have any board correspondence?
I do not.
Treasurer's report. Treasurer Grisomkowski.
We will be talking about much of what goes on for the Treasurer's report later in the meeting.
All right, thank you. Next is reports from board committee. The first is the executive committee. The executive committee met on June 4th, 2024 at 12:30 p.m. at the Huron Valley School Administration Building. The meeting was called to order at 12:30 p.m. Present were myself, along with members Pastana and Dodd, Dr. Salah, Barb Rothler, Jeanette Wenger, Connie Gilbert, Christine Chastain, Jennifer Hollander, and Heather Cadell. There were no public comments. Regular agenda, we discussed tonight's Board of Education meeting. We reviewed the agenda in anticipation of the meeting tonight. June 17th, 2024 is the annual organizational meeting. That's next Monday. At that point in time, we will have the organizational meeting and go through the work of the Board of Education. School safety and security, Barb Rothler presented the 2024 Security Assessment Report from Recon Management. This report outlined the results of the recent audit that Dr. Salah just mentioned during his report. Board policy review, Dr. Salah shared a recommendation as it relates to Neola policies that we are reviewing, and the committee recommended the policies be moved to the various subcommittees for further discussion. Michigan High School Athletic Association membership resolution was also discussed and shared with us, along with other items such as the teacher leaders, Connie Gilbert, Christine Chastain, and Jennifer Hollander provided an overview of the strategic plan, innovative programming, outlining the implementation framework. They highlighted key aspects including core programming, elective programming, and organizational structure. Additionally, they identified new positions required to support these initiatives. Jeanette Wenger shared with the committee an overview of the district's procedure for selecting third-party agencies, and the meeting was adjourned at 2:45. With that, we'll move on to TLT committee report.
TLT met June 3rd at the Administration Building. Meeting called to order at 4:34. Present were myself, Mr. Dimick, Ms. Cotter, Mr. Tavernier, Dr. Salah, Mr. Lindberg, Ms. Bjorkman, Mr. Endicott, Ms. Gilbert, Ms. Chastain, Ms. Miska, and Mrs. Hollander. There was no public comment. Regular agenda items, we talked about the Big Ideas math update. This year, the middle school math department field tested the updated Big Ideas resource. The current resource is the 2014 copyright, and the digital platform is no longer available. So after the field test, the recommendation is to move forward with district-wide adoption of the updated 2022 copyright of Big Ideas, modeling real life for the 24-25 school year. This would include student textbooks of Math 6, Math 6 Advanced, Math 7, Math 7 Advanced, and Math 8. In addition, this will include 6-year online licenses. It was supported for this exhibit to appear under new business on tonight's regular agenda. The Teaching Learning Technology Department has developed a vision for implementing the goals established in the strategic plan. This includes a summary of curriculum and assessment work that was previously planned along with the innovative programming recommendations adopted by the board in December of 2023. It was supported for this presentation to be shared at new business tonight at the meeting. You're going to like it. Safety and security, there were no new items at this time. Student leadership, we are awaiting our new student leaders once they have been elected. And board policy updates, Dr. Salah shared recommendations from Neola for update to board policies. The committee discussed options presented. These recommendations will be shared with other committees for additional feedback. Nothing on the consent agenda. The other item was administrative guidelines. The committee provided feedback on administrative guidelines in the 7,000 series. Administrative guidelines for 2,000, 5,000, and 7,000 series will be published in the next few weeks. We adjourned at 6:44. Our next meeting is to be determined.
Thank you very much. Finance and Operations Committee?
The Finance and Operations Committee met Wednesday, June 5th at the Administration Building. We started at 8:03 a.m. Present were Mr. Wiseman, myself, Ms. Ryan, Dr. Salah, Mr. Van Gotham, Ms. Wenger, Mr. Reeby, Ms. Kerrigan, Ms. Maruskin, Mrs. Timberlake, and Mr. Maxwell from Clark Construction, and Mr. Weinrock from TMP. We did have public comment. Thank you to Ms. Pustka for being there and speaking and talking to us a little bit about some Highland Township businesses that might impact our school district. We also looked at the consent agenda items, including the 2024 summer property tax collection resolution. The committee discussed and is recommending that the board approve the collection of the 2024 summer property taxes. Upon approval, a copy of this resolution will be forwarded to each of the townships within the district as notification to levy 100% of the school's taxes in the summer. The L4029 has been reviewed by multiple sources, including financial advisors and legal counsel. The third and fourth quarter budget amendments for 2023-2024 school year were reviewed as well. We're asking the board to approve the general fund, federal and state grants, special revenue fund, debt services fund, and capital projects fund at this evening's meeting. We did have some unfinished business, including the approval of the 2024-2025 budget. Mr. Van Gotham presented this evening, and we are asking for approval tonight. We reviewed board policies 2410, 2414, and 2418. Dr. Salah walked through some potential options, sharing key and relevant information with the committee regarding these policies. All board members have received the updates, so the next steps will be running them through legal counsel and bringing them to the board for approval. We did not have any new business. With respect to safety and security updates, the final recon report were shared with all board members by Ms. Rothler. In addition, we had a bond construction update from Mr. Maxwell from Clark Construction, including contingency updates on all of our bid packs. Bid pack 10 will begin on Friday, June 14th at Spring Mills and Lakewood Elementary Schools. We also looked at the Lakewood ES water leak repair. Ms. Timberlake from Clark Construction shared that we continue to have challenges with the metal paneling at Lakewood. The committee agreed to use Bid Pack 5 metal fabricator contractor Eagle Enterprises of Michigan to immediately resolve the problem and to look into options for recouping cost. Excess allowances from Bid Pack 4 will be used for this repair. We also talked a bit about the transportation antenna. Mr. Van Gotham informed the committee that looking for alternatives to our antenna above the water tower is ongoing. Mr. Twigg from Barton Mallow is working alongside transportation and technology to come up with an alternate solution. They will bring in a company to do a predictive survey of coverage for an antenna on the existing transportation cell tower and an antenna at Lakeland over the pool hallway. Just an aside on this, we have a 30-foot antenna that sits on a water tower that is, 30 to 60 feet in the air. And what happens is there's some triangulation for radio waves, and that allows our bus drivers to communicate here at Milford High School with our transportation program. So we are looking at what happens when we take that water tower down. How do we still communicate appropriately using radio waves? The 2019 bond construction timeline of remaining work. Mr. Van Gotham provided the committee with an estimated timeline of work subject to completion with a better roadmap anticipated in a 6 to 8 month timeline. 2024 bond middle school standards and design timeline committee and scope. The committee asked Mr. Van Gotham to provide some information regarding how do we move forward with our new middle schools. And we are looking at creating a middle school steering committee to include representatives from those that in our community to provide input. This committee will be established to discuss and set standards to bring forth a big picture along with commonality at both middle schools. Advocates for this group will have a larger following with open lines of communication. This team will meet prior to July to begin the process. We also talked a little bit about the water line resolution with Highland Township. Dr. Salah and Mr. Van Gotham continue to work with council along with Highland Township and will move forward once the deal for the township water is finalized with the development company. Upon receipt of said agreement, we'll bring it back to Finance and Operations Committee. An estimated 12 to 14-month process is anticipated once approved. And if that sounds very confusing, we want to bring good water to Highland Elementary School. And that is in conjunction with Highland Township. Bogey Lake, Maine amended easements. Mr. Van Gotham spoke with our environmental engineers, Spalding DeDecker, regarding final pricing and adding a 2-year maintenance bond. And this will be brought to the June 17th board meeting under unfinished business to sign the amended easement agreement. And once that is done, Lakeland High School can be connected to water Lakeland campus can be connected to the White Lake water supply, which is a huge, huge achievement. Administrative guidelines for finance and operations. The committee received the proposed 8,000 series of administrative guidelines from our last meeting, and we are still reviewing them. We will answer any questions at the July Finance and Operations meeting. The 7,000 series has been drafted and will be be reviewed by Dr. Salah, and this 6,000 series will be next. Temporary staffing bid process. Ms. Wenger gave the committee a high-level overview of the bid process and provided a bid synopsis, an intent to award recommendation. The committee appreciated the review of this process. Future discussion items. The organizational meeting agenda was emailed to the board for review. Administration will seek approval at the June 17th board meeting. Tentative 2024-2025 Finance and Operations Committee dates were emailed to the board for review. We adjourned our meeting at 10:45 a.m. Our next meeting will be in July, but I do not have a date for that. And that is all I have.
That was quite a bit.
It was quite a bit.
Next is Communications, Marketing, and Legislative.
Yes. Our last meeting was on May 21st at the Administration Office. We called it to order at 2:36. Members present were myself, Ms. Cotter, and Ms. Rothler. We had no public comment. On our regular agenda, we discussed the data from the bond vote. We looked at the data concerning the bond and the votes into each precinct, how they voted, data between absentee, early voting, and election day, just to really understand what was happening in the voting community. Next, we talked about social media analytics. Barb brought current social media analytics and year-to-year comparisons for Facebook from 21 to 20 school year to current. Facebook has grown exponentially with reach, visits, followers, with a very strategic plan to communicate important happenings throughout the district and show the community all the wonderful things that are happening at Huron Valley Schools. Instagram has also grown as the HVS Instagram page was created in 2022 and is continuing to grow. Barb also discussed creating an HVS communications playbook that will have an overview of the communication platforms we use, brand standards, and best practices for all communication. This will allow all schools within the district to be aware of protocols, policies, and implementation standards throughout the district. We next talked about safety and security and reviewed the recon management report. Legislative communication came next. Dr. Salah, along with several other superintendents across Oakland County, were in Lansing actually during our meeting to meet with key legislators, lobbyists regarding school budgets. Dr. Salah said the discussion went well, and they had an opportunity to talk to the governor and Representative Regina Weiss, the chair of the House Appropriations and School Aid in the Michigan Department of Communications Subcommittee, or Department of Education Subcommittee. More to come on this. I'm sure we will hear about it tomorrow at our meeting at 2:30 at the Administration Building. The other note that I would like to make is on our last board meeting, we nominated Mark Katz and Carol Finkelstein as the folks we would cast our votes for the 6-year term for the Oakland County Schools Board of Education. On June 3rd, I delivered those votes to the Oakland Schools office, and it was announced that it was certified that Mark Katz and Carol Finkelstein will represent us for 6 years on the Oakland Schools Board of Education.
Great, thank you. And thank you for representing us at that meeting. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda is public comments on action items. I do not have any public comments for action items. That taken into account, I do have 7 citizens participation forms on non-action items, so I will go ahead and take them at this point in time within our agenda. As a reminder, our school board appreciates the members of our community who share their public comments during this designated time. It's an important opportunity for our board to hear from the community. However, it is not a time for us to get into a two-way communications. Comments that require a follow-up, as a reminder, as it relates to investigation or communication, will be handled over to Dr. Salah as our superintendent or a member of his team. Each individual delivering public comments will have 3 minutes to share their communications. Individuals may only speak once and cannot share their unused time with another person. We also ask you, when you're called upon, to share your name, address, and home school district before sharing your comments. And at the same time, we also request that you refrain from name calling or mentioning the names of specific employees, persons, or students within your public comments. Once again, I want to thank you for taking the time to address the board, and I also want to thank you for our anticipated professionalism and partnership with you. So with that, we're going to start off with Mr. Anderson, Bill Anderson, followed by Lynn Stratton. So, Mr. Anderson?
Became aware of this particular meeting by seeing the posting in the Milford Times, but I decided to try to do a little follow-up to get an idea of what was going on with the budget. And I went to the HVS website, and I didn't see anything out there that indicated this meeting was there. It wasn't a front page thing with a, go to Google and say, okay, let me look at the 24-25 budget, and it just sends me down a rat hole that goes nowhere. So it would be a nice idea for us folks that don't have children that are in the school district, live in the school district but don't have students that attend but are interested in the operations here, that we could get an idea of when these meetings are going to take place. Because if I wasn't a subscriber to the Milford Times, I don't know whether I'd be here this evening. So it's just some opportunity for improvement, something that could go on the front page of the website, a couple days ahead of time that says, oh, by the way, there's this meeting coming up. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Stratton, and then followed by Ms. Tobin.
My name is Lynn. I'm a grandma to one of the victims. I live in Highland, Huron Valley, Spring Mills District. I'm here to speak from my heart, not about policies, legalities, or rules. Just one thing: lies. We as parents taught our children to always be honest so you won't get in trouble. Lie to us, watch out. Why is it that Spring Mills is lying or withholding the truth from the kids, grandkids, and parents? I volunteered with both of my kids attended this school, and also while my grandkids have been attending. Now, all of a sudden, because of an incident that happened 3 weeks ago, which was really nothing, we no longer are making popcorn. The last day we did popcorn, we were literally locked out of the office and Centrums. The kids were told nothing more than there will be no more popcorn for the rest of the year. Yes, let's punish the kids. As for the 4 volunteers who worked every Friday all year long, we were treated as if we had a disease and would infect the whole school. Come on, Spring Mills, Huron Valley School District, you're better than this. You are pretty much saying to your students that it's okay to lie, ignore, and hope it goes away. Kids are smart. They figure stuff out in their own way, and yes, they do talk amongst themselves. They know something is going on. Let me tell you that something isn't going away. Be honest with yourselves and these kids. They deserve to be treated with respect, just as you expect them to treat you respectfully. Parents have a right to know what is happening, whether it makes you look good or bad. That's right. That's it right there. You are so afraid that this will make you all look bad, so let's just do nothing and hope it floats off into infinity. These incidents aren't to be ignored, and us as parents, grandparents, will make sure of that. I am very sorry to see that Spring Mills sink to this level of disgrace, and I know that we as parents and grandparents will fight to the bitter end to get what our kids, grandkids deserve, which is respect, honesty, and a safe place to learn. You, as a school board, know lying isn't the way to solve the situation. If the situation would have been taken care of last year, and those who were supposed to report such incidents had done their job properly, we, the ones who are sticking up for the victims' children, wouldn't be here tonight. Just something for you all to contemplate. Thank you.
Ms. Tobin, and then Richard Skalski.
Hello again. I apologize because I have laryngitis.
Oh, geez.
So I think I'm going to keep this short.
Do you need water, Ms. Tobin?
No, I don't, thank you, I wish that would help. People ask, this is just a quote that I just read sitting here. I've got a whole thing prepared, but people ask, how can a person abuse a child? I ask, how can so many good people not do anything about it? I understand that there's an investigation going on. I spoke with the chief investigator who said that supporting the kids right now does not hurt the investigation whatsoever, and they have nothing to do with it, and they're not stopping that. So again, I'm up here for the second time asking, why are we not bringing the care house in? Why are we not bringing people in to talk to the kids in groups in their classrooms? I have yet to meet a parent that doesn't want their child to learn about sexual abuse. I understand that there is a curriculum that is followed, but the curriculum does not go into sexual victimization and sexual abuse and all the things that these kids want to know about. I sat in a group of kids that started talking about it, and the relief on their face. Police. I spoke with the social worker today, and she said that she is not specialized in sexual victimization, the social worker that we're supposed to send the kids to, and she's not opposed to other things. So I gave her some information. This summer, I've already reached out to legislature and the senator and the lieutenant governor, and I'm gonna get, the kids wanna go on a field trip to the Capitol, so you know what, the best thing we can do is empower them to learn that, you know, whether you were abused or not, it's not okay, and it's not a secret, and you don't have to be silenced at school, and you didn't do anything wrong. They all think they did something wrong. They all think that the police at the school and the extra individuals who are there to support the school are investigating them because they did something wrong. So please, explain to them something. Explain to all the other elementary schools that this person may or may not have been there. It doesn't matter about the person, just what we do moving forward. Okay, please, teach them. Sexual abuse is so common, and it's so silenced. Break the silence. And now I'm going to stop talking. Thank you.
Followed by Erica.
He didn't hear you because your mic was off.
Oh, I'm sorry, Richard. Followed by Erica.
My name's Richard. Live in Highland here on Spring Mills School District. Excuse me. The path to make a change has not been an easy one. Every request has fallen on deaf ears, like we found out today. HVS statements do not align with what most consider proper. For example, Dr. Sala is encouraging children to speak with the same staff who failed to report the touching in 2023 by a serial sexual predator. That 2023 mistake has gone ignored by the board, just like the complaint. No investigation was started for the staff not following proper procedure. With this recent complaint, the Title IX investigation did not start until over a month after the first of many police reports. We all know that he has charges from 2016. You ignored that. Recently, Ms. Bentley has encouraged staff, in my opinion, to be aggressive towards the parents of victims.
Let's please refrain from names, please.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
The parents of victims, staff had surrounded a car. Police were out there taking pictures, all because truth was written on a window. I feel it's a testament of guilt. But who else is guilty? Well, I mean, we have policies, right? We have laws. So if any of you parents are wondering why he's teaching your young children, it's because of our policies. You know, the superintendent and board members, they felt that it was appropriate. Many mistakes were made, causing many children to be sexually assaulted. And there needs to be accountability for the disregard of the children's safety. Parents, don't vote for these board members. These board members let it happen. Let's take a stand. Be a voice. Come here. Say what you have to. The board can vote out whoever's responsible for this. That's what needs to happen. You know, there's been no policy as followed. They try to downplay it instead of owning it. The lies are driven by greed. That's my opinion. This is a crisis, and so many families have filed sexual assault complaints in this school. You know, the parents have been the leaders here, educating the other parents in the area the dangers that their children were in. The school board's done nothing. No questions have been answered. The fix has been to tell the children in class they should not talk about it publicly. The fix is to have them report to someone who failed their classmates. There's been no leadership skills shown. And I will not stop spreading this truth until somebody's out of office. Someone needs to go for this. There's been 5 years of employment.
Thank you. Erica? Followed by Tori.
Hello, my name is Erica Skalski. I live in the Huron Valley School District. I apologize, I cannot give you my address as the person who is being accused has been looking for us parents. His family has been writing us and searching for us. Before the age of 18, 1 out of every 3 girls and 1 out of every 5 boys experience sexual abuse. Children are most vulnerable to abuse between the ages of 7 and 13. The median age for reported abuse is 9. Many cases of child sexual abuse are never reported, sometimes because they're scared, and sometimes due to adults not reporting it, as seen proven by Spring Mills principal and counselor. 2 mandatory reporters that fail to do their jobs and protect our children. A lot of children have only the school as their safe space. Me growing up, the only spot I had that was safe was the school. Thank you for proving my daughter can't have that. The school has failed them. You all have failed them. You think because summer is coming, it's all gonna blow over? That we're just a bunch of worked up parents? Newsflash, it won't. And every parent here with or without children in the Spring Mills has every right to be upset. It all could have been stopped over a year ago. My daughter's years of abuse by a man who let in could have stopped over a year ago. She could have been saved and helped long ago. Your employees chose to ignore years of sexual abuse. Who else knew? It's really hard to believe that 2 of your trusted employees pulled 6 children aside and questioned them without any of your knowledge. My daughter endured over a year of pain from a monster within the school walls after it was known what he was because you all chose to invite him in. Over a year of extra pain because you all failed her and so many others. 10 children have come forward from the ages of 7 to 10. 2, I know, refused to come forward because of the assaults the parents are receiving at the schools. You know about it because I called and made a complaint. Parents of victims are being treated like the enemy. We're being ostracized because of your actions. You offered help with 2 people that were proven to have caused more suffering. You protect your employees that use the children to assault the parents. Don't say you didn't know, you knew. We're all being treated like crap, complete and utter crap. I had a sub come after me yelling at my child. It's on film. I called you all about it. All you gotta do is look at the film. My child shouldn't be getting yelled at by a substitute teacher being used to come at me. The sub was nice to me the day before. Then she found out that my daughter was one of the victims. Check Edge's staff. She came from there too.
Tori, followed by Vicky.
Hi, my name is Tori Spano. I live in Highland. I am a parent from Spring Mills. I'm not going to give my address because the very first time I gave my address, I started being stalked by this man's family. Sitting outside my house, I have had to install many cameras for my children's safety just because from this board meeting, they got my address, which is even more terrifying to me that somebody who already hurt one of my children is now sending his family to my house. So we can't be safe at school. We can't be safe at home now. I really don't know what to say. I didn't prepare anything. I wasn't ready for Rick to put my name in tonight. I just think that it needs to be brought up that you guys talk about unity and you put it on the signs that you unite, but in uniting for our principal, you're shunning our victims. None of you showed up to the school for our children when this first happened. The only reason you showed up is because the principal was so scared of some words written in chalk on the side of my vehicle that the next day you all started showing up. Why? Why was it because you were so scared of some words on a car, but you didn't care about the words when the emails were sent to you asking you to support our children? It only shows that you're supporting her and not them, and it's pathetic.
Ms. McDonald?
I went through the bylaws of the board and the students and the teachers. The one here says value statements for students and staff. I will accept responsibility for my actions. The action wasn't taken care of on February 28th, 2023. I will keep the promises I make, fulfill the trust of the other people place in me. Didn't happen. Philosophies of the board. The board will declare and therefore reaffirm the intent to maintain a two-way communication of citizens in this district. I have emailed every one of you, got not one reply. The board members' ethics. To become informed concerning the issues to be considered at the meeting and get back with people. Nope. Communications between the board, students, staff, and community. No emails back. Still, whistleblower protection. My van's out there, bright. I got the date of the email that was sent. I have the students passing by. What is that, Mama? So now the mama's got to describe what it is. And that's good, because nobody else is. My granddaughter, over and over and over, has been told, shh, don't talk about it, by her teachers. Don't talk about it. Take it home with you. Talk about it at home. Don't talk about it here. That's terrible. Talk about it here. Bring it up. Talk to your friends. Keep bringing it up. Keep bringing it up. Keep bringing it up. But no, shh, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. They did. They surrounded my vehicle and took pictures of my vehicle. Really? I've talked about it in McDonald's parking lot. What does that mean? I've spread the word all the way from Myers, McDonald's, Pet Supply Plus. They ask me, people from Waterford, the school district in Waterford. Well, we go to the school district in Waterford. I'm like, well, this is Huron Valley for you. This is Huron Valley.
Next on the agenda is consent agenda, exhibits A1 through A4.
I'll
Do I
make
have
a motion to approve the consent agenda items A1 through A4 as presented.
Do I have a second? Okay, motion made by Member Dodd, seconded by Member Ryan. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, could I have a roll call, please?
Yep. Ms. Dodd?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Grisomkowski?
Yes.
Ms. Cotter?
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Dimick?
Yes.
And Mr. Wiseman?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next on the agenda is superintendent's evaluation. The revised Michigan School Code requires school boards to evaluate their superintendent's job performance annually as part of a comprehensive performance evaluation system that takes into account governance and board relations, community relations, staff relations, business and finance, instructional leadership, student growth, progress towards district-wide goals. Within these 7 areas are 34 indicators that make up the superintendent's evaluation. The Huron Valley Board of Education met in closed session tonight, June 10th, 2024, as requested by our Superintendent, Dr. Salah. The purpose of the closed session was to formally evaluate Dr. Salah's job performance over this past year. The Huron Valley School Board of Education utilizes the evaluation tool developed by the Michigan Association of School Boards based on the requirements of the revised school code. The evaluation instrument that we use is based on two bodies of research: the Professional Standards for Educational Leaders in School District Leadership that works, the effect of superintendent leadership on student achievement. The revised school code requires the Board of Education's members to receive training on the evaluation instrument to be used in the evaluation system and how the measures are used. Each member of your Huron Valley School Board of Education, along with the superintendent, has received such training. School districts must post comprehensive information on their website pertaining to the evaluation instrument being used. The Huron Valley Schools has on its website a link under Board of Education, this information for your reference. As part of the annual evaluation, the Board of Education of the Huron Valley Schools received a mid-year progress report on 23-24 goals from Dr. Salah. This mid-year evaluation took place in January of 2024. Prior to the formal evaluation that was held tonight, Dr. Salah this past May provided the board a executive summary, which was 9 pages in length, highlighting the direction and accomplishments in 2023-2024 of the Huron Valley District. The 23-24 goal presentation, the 23-24 mid-year progress report, the Michigan Association of School Board evaluation tool, and Dr. Salah's self-evaluation, which included the evidence as a companion for the executive summary of the progress of meeting the goals of the district and information to assist the Board of Education members in the evaluation process, along with other information such as attendance and growth data. This information was provided, as previously mentioned, earlier in May. Since May, Board of Education members asked questions and received clarification as needed regarding the evidence that Dr. Salah provided. Evidence was extensive, including work in the strategic planning, Bond 2024, stair-step implementation of systems approach to school environments, operation efficiencies and revenue enhancements that align with district needs, the 2019 bond construction process, policy updates, safety and security, social and emotional well-being, and marketing and communication. The body of evidence was extensive, as I said before, and the Board of Education used this time to review the materials and to direct questions to our superintendent. During closed session tonight, Board of Education members evaluated the superintendent. Dr. Salah was present during this time and provided valuable, I believe, feedback as it relates to the evaluation process. He was also available to answer any further questions from the Board of Education. I, as board president, led the Board of Education through the conversation regarding Dr. Salah's performance and to arrive at a consensus of the Board of Education is identified for each of the areas that I identified earlier. Evaluation ratings of each of these areas are listed as follows. They are listed as less than effective, minimally effective, effective, or highly effective. A rating of 1 is for less effective, 2 is minimally effective, 3 is effective, and 4 is highly effective in each category. Each subcategory of the following areas of governance and board relations, community relations, staff relations, business and finance, instructional leadership, student growth, and progress towards district-wide goals were rated. The Huron Valley Board of Education in each of these areas that I just read rated Dr. Salah as highly effective. Congratulations to you, Dr. Salah, for your leadership, professionalism, and outstanding work on behalf of the Huron Valley staff, students, and community. I would also like to thank my fellow Board of Education members for the time that you all spent in attention to detail in preparation for the evaluation of our superintendent. With the 23-24 evaluation of our superintendent completed, I now make the motion that the Huron Valley School Board of Education approve the evaluation in its rating of highly effective for Dr. Salah as presented, and terms and conditions of Dr. Salah's employment contract be authorized based on his highly effective rating for the 23-24 school year. And I so make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion was made by myself along with a second from Mrs. Pastana. Is there any questions, comments as it relates to the evaluation process? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Grismkowski.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
And Mr. Dimick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations, Dr. Slaw, on your evaluation. Next, under unfinished business, is the approval of the 24-25 budget. Dr. Slaw.
Thank you. I would ask Mr. Van Gotham to speak to this one.
Thank you, Dr. Slaw. So as we heard in the budget hearing this evening, we are asking that the board consider the proposed budgets as presented, which include the general fund, special revenue fund, debt service fund, building and site sinking fund, and capital projects funds. And you have resolutions for each of those funds as attached. And I would ask that Treasurer Grismkowski lead that effort through the board in passing those resolutions, but I'm available for any questions. Again, we've talked about this at budget work session several weeks ago. The board has had this information for a couple weeks, and again, the ultimate direction is that these budgets get approved this evening. So with that, I pass it on to Treasurer Grismkowski.
Mr. Wiseman, I'd like to make a motion that we pass the annual budget that includes the resolutions for our general fund, special revenue fund, debt fund, building and site sinking fund, and capital projects fund, which is in keeping with the Appropriations Act.
And you made a wonderful motion. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Do I have a
Was that the
second?
time for it?
Do I have a second? Motion made by Treasurer Grismkowski and seconded by Member Dimick. Is there any other comments or questions before we take a roll call vote? I do want to just say thank you. This takes a tremendous amount of work. I appreciate and respect the work that Mrs. Grismkowski, as our board treasurer, has put forth, along with conversations that you've had with Mr. Van Gotham and the thoroughness of our conversations at the various subcommittees. This is truly a reflection of what our goals are of this district. We make fun of our Assistant Superintendent of Business sometimes when he presents the budget. He tries to bring a little humor into it, but it's kind of a tough sell sometimes. But I do believe that our school district is, from a fiduciary standpoint, is well thought of, and we are in a good position to attract and retain staff, along with making certain that our students are taken care of properly, that our teachers are taken care of properly, and that our community is taken care of properly. So I do appreciate the work that you've not only done in our general fund, but in all the other various funds. We've come a long ways as it relates to our budget, and I really feel that we're in very sound footing. And I appreciate the work that our administrative team has done, but I would be remiss if I did not say thank you to the rest of the Board of Education, but even more important than the Board of Education, our community, because without our community support, we wouldn't be where we are now, and you are really providing the tools in our toolkit to provide the very best that we possibly can for our students in our community. So that's my soapbox. So I really do appreciate everything that everybody's done. This is a momentous occasion, and it's important for us to move forward, even though we don't know how many students we are going to have, and we don't know what our foundation is. So I think we're in good stead. Laura.
I know you usually like the last word, and I was slow to raise my hand, but I've had lots of conversations with fellow school board members across the state recently about some of the financial hardship that a lot of districts are in right now. We know about what's been happening in Ann Arbor and some of the other districts that are all of a sudden in real trouble. And we've all attended conferences and workshops, and I attended one a few years ago, and an economist said public school districts are about ready to fall off a cliff because they used one-time money for long-term projects. And I immediately popped my collar because I knew really well that we did not. We worked really hard to make sure the pandemic money that came in to help support students, make sure we had the protective gear we needed, upgrading our air handling, any of that sort of stuff went toward that. It went toward supplemental programs, summer school, all the things that we could do to help get our kids back to where they need to be learning rather than in long-term contracts with our different groups. And here, I'm very proud of Huron Valley. We are conservative with our budgets. We very rarely make deals with money we know we don't have or won't have long-term. And Jeffrey and the team consistently bring us realistic budgets. And then usually the state comes through with just a little bit more, which gives us a little cushion. And that is certainly an expertise, and it really sadly in a lot of Michigan public schools isn't the norm, and we're showing what good fiscal management can do and good oversight by our treasurer, our board chair, and the legacy of boards who come before us to make sure we're on sound footing. So passing this budget is easy for me to do because I know it's built on that legacy of responsibility, leadership, and really understanding how to use the money we're getting from the federal government, the state government, and local funds.
Great. Well said. Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and we have a second. Could we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Grzymkowski.
Yes.
Mr. Dimick.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
And Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next on the agenda is 3.5 word study purchase. Dr. Slav?
Thank you, Mr. President. We did have a presentation on 3.5 word study at the last meeting. I'm not aware of any follow-up questions. Mr. Treverner, are you?
I have not received any questions.
Okay, then we would ask for support of the purchase of the 3.5 word study based upon the recommendations of the three boxer as presented.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the 3 to 5 word study.
Motion made by Member Dimick. Do I have a second? Second by Member Ryan. Any questions, comments? I will say that even though there weren't any questions over the last 2 weeks, I think it's a compliment to the presentation that was done 2 weeks ago. I think this is very exciting work. The extensive input that was received was enormous. I know I, for one, as a grandparent of some elementary age students, I'm very excited about the program. So thank you very much, not only for your leadership, presenters from last board meeting, but the implementers as we move forward. So please pass my congratulations on to everybody that's involved. So we have a, yes, Amy.
I have the opportunity to speak to other board members in other districts, and I was congratulating our group on the literacy programs that we're bringing to Huron Valley. And I had several people say to me, "You are so far ahead of the curve." And for me, you know this is very personal for me, what we are doing with literacy at every level, not just K-12, K2, or, at every level, whether it's, in our high schools with our writing and comprehension and being able to contextualize, whether it's with decoding and phonemic awareness. I could not tell you how proud I am of the work that you are doing. I say, please keep it up. Our kids need this. It is critical to, not just for grades. Grades are important. But for me, I want to create lifelong learners, lifelong readers who will have the joy of reading when it's summertime, when they're on vacation, when they're not on vacation. I want them to just read. And I appreciate all the work that you do because it's significant and it's meaningful. And as a mom, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing. So thank you.
Any other comments? With that, we have a motion. We have a second. Could we have a roll call?
Mr. Dimick.
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
Ms. Dodd,
Yes.
Ms. Grzymkowski.
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Weisman.
Absolutely, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Under new business, strategic planning and innovative programming updates, Exhibit E, Dr. Salah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. And for this one, I would ask Mr. Tavernier to speak to the kickoff.
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you to Ms. Grzymkowski for her comments and recognizing that this team is truly top-notch. So thank you very much for recognizing that and recognizing them this evening. So if we walk back a little bit in time, back in December of 2022, the Board of Education adopted the strategic plan for the 23 through 2028. And the TLT team has been very busy since. As you know, one of the main goals, in fact, goal number one in our strategic plan is innovative programs. As part of our strategic plan 2.0 process this past fall, you saw several presentations from our TLT team that is here this evening to give you an update on the work that we've been doing in the department. So I'm not going to say anything more. I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Curriculum Development, Mr. Lindberg, and he'll take it from here.
Yeah, just for the record, I do get yelled at when I step on other people's words, so thanks, Mr. Tavernier. But we are excited to come to you tonight and share this vision for our district and for teaching and learning. As we met earlier this year with our strategic plan 2.0 meetings, a lot of these topics that you see up on the board here were discussed by us as a department and considered for when we were looking at innovative programming moving forward in the future. And so, as Mr. Tavernier mentioned, we looked at setting up a framework around that innovative programming goal. And one of the things that we really tried to make sure that we did was, because there is a lot of work that's involved in this, we wanted to make sure we organized it around our curriculum review phases. So global review, evaluating and planning, revising and developing, implementing and monitoring and adjusting. We looked at all the projects that we were considering and all the curriculum work, and we aligned it to those different phases because we wanted to make sure we could attack the work in a proper amount of time. And so those were considerations when we put this together. So I'm going to turn it over to Connie, who's going to give you a little bit more about the framework, and we'll go from there.
So as we started to look at Objective 1.1 within the Innovative Programming section, we really saw the work falling into three main areas: core programming, elective programming, and structures. And within our core programming, we knew that we were going to continue our regular curriculum review cycle, but now we knew we'd want to be balancing that with looking at it through the innovative programming lens. Also within core programming, we knew that there might be some potential new core programs or courses that we may want to develop to meet the innovative programming goals. And also within our core programming, we had started some great work with our elementary report card that we knew was going to continue over the next few years. In the area of elective programming, we also wanted to continue our regular curriculum review cycle with all of our existing courses. But in this area, we also knew there might be some new elective programs or courses that we would like to develop to help meet the innovative programming goals. Our specials at the elementary level will be continuing to work on their elementary report card. And we wanted to highlight that our CTE programming, which really is Objective 1.3 by itself, we have really embedded within our elective programming plans, as many of those courses are at the secondary level. And lastly, we saw a lot of work in the area of structures. We know we had talked about potentially looking at new secondary daily and weekly structures to help meet the goals. And all within that, we wanted to keep an eye on how we are envisioning our professional learning structures to help support all of this work. So these three areas, we then went more in depth in how this may look over the next 4 years. So this slide has a lot of information on it, and what this is representing is our Gantt chart that we have in teaching and learning technology. This is the way we organize our curriculum review cycle, and we wanted to really paint a picture for ourselves of what will it look like over the next 4 years. So we listed out all of our core content areas and our courses of what curriculum review phase they will be in over the next 4 years. And as we were just talking about it, literacy is going to be a huge lift over the next few years as we look for a comprehensive program at the elementary level. And so we wanted to see what are our other big ticket items over the next 4 years. In the area of elective programming, we're very excited to start what we would call a global core review at both the elementary and secondary level. We want to make sure that we are offering programs that meet today's needs and so our students are prepared when they leave for today's society. And so whether that be giving them more exposure to all of the 6 career pathways, we want to make sure that our elective programs are aligning to those. And so over the next few years, we see potential development of new elective courses in these areas. And so we really see groups of teachers coming together next year to help lay out that work for the next few years. And lastly, in the area for Objective 1.1 is, again, looking at the potential new secondary structures that would allow our students to have more opportunities and more choice to take a variety of courses. So we are excited that next year we'll really dive into what are those structures potentially look like for us in the future. Is it block scheduling? Might it be 7-hour day? And we really want to research what is best practice, explore what other districts are doing, determine what is the cost of moving to a new structure at the secondary level, and then make plans based off that. We don't see an implementation of a new structure for a few years because we would want to make sure that we have really done our due diligence in both determining what is best for Huron Valley, but then also prepping our staff to make that shift. As far as other structures for Objective 1.1, as we mentioned before, we have done a lot of work with the elementary report card, and that will be implemented next year at the lower L level and still in the revising and developing phase at the upper L level. That being implemented in the following year, 25-26. And lastly, we want to continue to just develop our professional learning framework and refine the key pieces that our staff and educators get to participate in to help support all this strategic plan work. We have been developing our playbook and have really solidified our professional learning community section as well as our collaborative inquiry section, and are just about to embark on defining our cohort structure moving forward. We currently have cohorts, but we are now taking a look at what will be best practice moving forward for our cohorts. Cohorts would be an opportunity for all of the 3rd grade teachers to get together across the district, or all of the high school math cohort. So that's kind of the next work in our professional learning framework to help support all of the strategic plan work.
So all of this work requires an army of support. And at the core of our structures are our teacher leaders that work across JK-12 in order to implement all of our programming. We have teacher leaders, of course, within our core content areas, our PBIS, Fine Arts, English Language Learner, Career and Technical Education, and our Instructional Technology. And all of us work together in collaboration with COAT, TLT, our directors, Student Support Services, HVA leadership, our administrators, and all of our educators in order to live into our normal day-to-day activities, but also this innovative programming and plan. This will be a huge lift and will require us to continue to collaborate effectively together in order to touch on all of those things that Connie just mentioned for you, because there's a lot of kind of web integration happening there. But we'd like to take a moment to highlight the role of our core content teacher leaders, of which there are currently 3 of us. 2 of us with secondary backgrounds and just 1 of us with elementary backgrounds, in an elementary background. In order to lift this plan off, knowing
the huge docket of literacy work that we have coming, all of the integrative programming work, they'll look at our structures and our programs. We have a hole at the elementary level that will require some additional support. And so we're excited to share that we have posted and are implementing a plan to bring on an additional JK-12 ELA and social studies focused teacher leader in order to help facilitate our curriculum and assessment work, lead resource pilots, implement that new resource, provide professional learning and coordinate that professional learning, and live into this vision for innovative programming as fully as possible. This exciting opportunity is made possible by various grant-funded sources. And so we're very, very excited to continue to reach toward the objectives of the strategic plan with this additional support.
And that new teacher leader will continue to help with even other programming besides just Objective 1.1, of course. We wanted to give an update on Objective 1.2 as well from the innovative programming goals. And here's where we really saw this objective as our MTSS programming and structures. MTSS, meaning multi-tiered systems of support. And we really saw these in kind of two buckets. Programming, including gifted and talented and middle school teaming, and our different structures that make up our MTSS, including our win and seminar time and a new vision for instructional coaching model. So as far as gifted and talented, we were able to revive that program after the COVID years kind of dissipated. And we have revived the elementary 3-5 opportunities this year. We had a team of teachers come together and provide many opportunities for kids both during the school day and outside the school day. We are excited that we are going to be continuing this work up to the middle school level starting next year, bringing groups of teachers together to help really plan out and vision that program for our middle school students. So we see that being implemented next year, monitoring and adjusting that for the next 4 years. We also want to keep in mind that we have always valued middle school teaming in Huron Valley, but with the declining enrollment in some of our middle schools, it's become a little bit harder to sustain that. So we want to make sure we are evaluating and planning to bring that back when we move into the 2 middle schools in the 25-26 school year. In regards to our MTSS playbook, we see this work really happening over the next 2 years. We envision developing a playbook or a handbook for all of our multi-tiered systems of support. That not only includes our academic supports, but also our social emotional supports as well. So this includes PBIS, our positive behavioral interventions and supports, as well as how we can use current committees or groups that we have already to support using data to help our MTSS systems. So we are very excited about this work. We know it's going to be a heavy lift to kind of evaluate all what we have thus far in areas in which we can improve. And one of those structures that we really plan to look at in depth is our current win or what I need time at the elementary level. This is time set aside during the day where students can get what they need, hence the name, for both intervention and enrichment. So we really see bringing together types of committees to help develop what is the best practices that should be happening during that time and implementing that within the next few years. It's also a great opportunity for us to look at our seminar structure at the secondary level. We currently have a seminar period daily at the middle school level and once a week at the high school level. And we really want to make sure we're utilizing that time to its fullest for both intervention and enrichment for students. So another exciting opportunity for us to look at that structure. And lastly, we're very excited about really starting to develop an instructional coaching model and vision for Huron Valley. We're excited that we will be implementing new math coaches at the elementary level starting next year. And that really partners well with our current literacy coaches that we have at each elementary building that really serve as a .2 coach and a .8 interventionist in the current state. So again, all of these are how we see the work kind of rolling out for the next 4 years as we meet the goals of our innovative programming.
Hey, I'm happy to share a little bit more about those math coaches that Connie just talked about. So our 4 math coaches would work in collaboration with the math science teacher leaders, focusing on instruction in the classroom and using a coaching model to do that. Modeling lessons, maybe co-teaching right alongside the classroom teacher, co-planning with the PLC, leading data digs or participating in data digs, helping to provide professional learning on our math resources, and working alongside teachers to implement best practice for both intervention as well as extension or enrichment in the classroom. We'll be looking at using the early mathematics essentials to help anchor this work, and we're just really excited about the potential that's out there with these math coaches. So we are looking at implementing next school year 4 elementary math coaches to improve elementary math scores, increase math proficiency, and develop students' mathematical mindsets by building teacher knowledge, skills, and efficacy. And this is a very exciting opportunity made possible by grant funds. We can thank 23G, Michigan Kids Back on Track.
So I think the buzzword I heard was exciting. And hopefully we're showing that at 8:30 on a Monday night, that we're still excited. But it really is exciting work. And in the plan that we've looked at and the framework developed, I think is setting us up for success over the coming years, because there is a lot there is a lift of work that needs to be done. And so having this framework is really going to be beneficial for teaching and learning to support our students as we look at these innovative changes. So just again, ending on the fact that these topics were mentioned throughout the presentation and are things that we'll be considering as we move forward, looking at the strategic plan and looking at the framework for TLT. So thank you.
I know that this has been presented to a couple committees already, but any comments, questions? Yes, Denise?
No, I just wanted to thank you guys for always being the last ones here. I appreciate that, and all your hard work. I mean, I know it's been said, and I know I'm speaking for the rest of the board. We really appreciate all the time and effort, and that you explain it over and over, because I know you've been to a lot of committees too, so thank you.
Anything else? Yes, Amy?
You know, when we were doing Strategic Plan 2.0, we talked so much about new middle schools. You know, we talked so much about the brick and mortar, but this was probably the thing that was most interesting to me, because I still have students in the district. I know that's hard to believe. But when you talk about things like middle school teaming, my older children had it, my daughter does not. There's a big difference. This idea of restructuring seminar, genius. When you talk about gifted and talented programs, I remember the gifted and talented program at my school. It was a big deal. When we're looking at electives and reviewing our core programs, even the literacy piece, I mean, you know that's my jam. This is exciting stuff. I agree, Marty. This is exciting stuff. This is what we do. This is the meat and potatoes of what we do as an education organization. And I appreciate the fact that when you come to us, your plans are so detailed and they're so well thought out. And I really feel comfortable with a lot of this information. I know that it has been researched and it has been evaluated, and you have agonized over how to go about doing this. And I really just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Amy. Any other questions, comments? How many times have I heard the word exciting? a lot, but it is, because you know what's exciting about it? Is here we're spending all this time on instruction, and that's what we're all about, right? What's going on in the classroom, what we're doing to provide the tools that are necessary for our kids to succeed. And it goes hand in glove with the budget. Because without the budget, we wouldn't be able to do these types of things as it relates to coaching. I look at, we're always aware of the budget, but yet at the same time, you're looking at different ways of funding these types of programs through grants, through the state of Michigan, and really showing our district as being one of those lighthouse school districts that are really doing the work. The fact that it's so well organized and it's systematic in its outlook. It's not just looking at this year, but what it's going to take to get us to where we need to go. Because it's the old thing, if you don't have goals and you don't have plans, how do you know when you're going to get there, right? And you have that. And there's a high level of risk-taking here. There's a high level of accountability as it relates to the various charts. And I'm excited about what you're doing now, but I'm really excited about a report next year of all the things that we've implemented. And what, you know what? This is a plan, and the plan changes. I always talk winners adjust. Well, if you want to be a winner, this is your plan, but you're going to have to make some adjustments possibly during the course of the year. So I appreciate the work that you guys have done. I think and the other thing that's really exciting, we've talked about TLT, and we've talked about finance and budget, but it really drives home that we were really right on as it relates to our strategic plan, because our strategic plan is a living, breathing document. That strategic plan that was adopted by our community really gives us the framework to work within innovative programming, within finance, within communication, all those types of things. Our strategic plan is not something put on the wall and we forget about it, and 5 years from now we say, hey, we got to do another strategic plan. We're living it, and it's giving us that direction. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And there it is. We always have it right in front of us. You probably don't even know that. Yeah. We have it sitting right in front of us, along with our Board of Education governance standards on the back, and it's in front of us every meeting. So that's what we live by. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Dr. Slah, we have middle school math resources.
And I will ask Mr. DeVernier to speak to this one.
Well, while we have the team here this evening, we want to bring forward the middle school level. So this year, we've had some field testing with middle school and our math resource, and our current resources reach the end of life with its current copyright. So again, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lindberg, our Director of Curriculum, to give us an update on our math resource.
So we're excited to bring you this Big Ideas purchase. When we come up in front of you, every time, if we're talking literacy, if we're talking science, and now when we're talking math, we always show you our JK-12 vision for each of the departments. And so we're sharing our mathematics vision. That was, again, we collaborated with teachers throughout our district to build this vision. I'm not going to read it, but we did highlight a few things just to point out to you that our curriculum is aligned to the Michigan standards. We want students actively engaged in math. We want them collaborating with each other to solve problems. We want, as educators, to monitor student understanding and make sure we're providing feedback that's useful to them. And more importantly, we want our students to take ownership with that and meet, so that we're meeting their needs throughout the math experience. And so that's the mathematics vision. Again, we think it's important that Tom, just like how you have the standards there, we always have our math vision as we work with math teachers and make sure that we're aligning our work to that vision. I mentioned Michigan standards for mathematics that these are based on. One of the things you need to understand is that the middle school level standards are banded by grade level. So we have specific math standards for 6th grade, we have specific math standards for 7th grade, and for 8th grade. We also, the domains for the standards are listed up there on the left, and so for all grade levels, those domains are where the standards are located in. Usually there's about 35 to 40 standards per grade level, and then the mathematical practices there on the right, those are put together to support the domains and standards that we mentioned. Our middle school pathway at the secondary level, this is something we communicate to fifth grade students and parents as they're getting ready to come to the secondary level, making sure that they understand that we roughly have two pathways in our district. We have our regular pathway, and we have our advanced pathway. We have courses to support both those pathways as well. But for the regular pathway, again, they would take sixth grade math in sixth grade, seventh grade math in seventh grade, and eighth grade math in eighth grade. And those standards would be reflected in each of those. For the advanced pathway, one of the things that we wanted to make sure that all students and parents understood is that even if you're in advanced math, you're not missing out on any standards. You're still being exposed to all the standards at the middle school level. So for example, sixth grade advanced math, you're being exposed to all sixth grade math standards and half of the seventh grade math standards. And then when you go to advanced math in seventh grade, you're being exposed to the other half of seventh grade standards and all of the eighth grade standards, so that when you get to eighth grade, you've already had exposure to all three grade level math standards, and then you move into an honors algebra 1 class, which is a high school level class. So that's important to understand that it doesn't matter what pathway you're on, students are exposed to all the standards at the middle school level. So why a resource? Again, this is a slide that often we share with you. It doesn't matter if it's science or math or social studies. These are things that we look at when we consider a resource. First of all, alignment. We want to make sure that resource is aligning to our district curriculum, our district standards, and our vision for that department. So in this example, for our math education. Common experiences. We want to make sure that our students in Huron Valley have a resource that provides them a common experience, so that it doesn't matter if you're a sixth grade student at Muir Middle School or a sixth grade student at White Lake Middle School, you're getting a common experience in both those buildings. Teacher support. We want to make sure that if you're switching grade levels or you're a new teacher to our district, that we're providing you a resource that's going to help support you as you work and teach students in our district. And then also student support. So we want parents and families or students and families to have access to the materials at home, and the online exposure as well as the physical book itself will be helpful to those students. So those are considerations when we look at for a resource. A brief history of the math background. We adopted the Big Ideas in 2014. So 10 years ago, we went and adopted that. And when we adopted that, it was a 6-year cycle. And so from 2014 to 2020, we had that. So during those 6 years, we continued doing monitoring and adjusting as we went through just our regular curriculum review cycle phases. We did curriculum and assessment work. We updated Atlas when necessary. But when we got to 2020, the feedback that we had received from the teachers was to continue with this resource. And so we ended up purchasing a 3-year extension in 2020 that would get us through the 2023 school year. When we got to 2023, we were told that they would be sunsetting this Big Ideas copyright of 2014 at the end of the 23-24 school year, this current year right now. So we came to you last year and asked you for a 1-year extension to allow us time to look at other resources and field test the new Big Ideas. And so that's what we spent this year doing and did the field testing. And so now we're coming forward with you tonight to ask you to recommend the Big Ideas purchase again with the updated materials.
So why Big Ideas Modeling Real Life? That's the updated copyright. I'll first draw your attention to the bottom of the slide. Big Ideas uses a rigor through a balanced approach to teaching mathematics. And what this means is that students will be able to experience conceptual understanding as well as procedural fluency so they can apply their mathematics. And that was a real big draw for going to this copyright. The general sense of a lesson for students is that they'll be somehow motivated by some relevancy piece. They'll get an opportunity to then do some exploration where the productive struggle is encouraged as they're trying to figure out the mathematics, but then it's followed up by some direct teaching with examples and modeling, and then a gradual release of students trying it on their own so that then they can be assessed on how well they have understood the material. And so that was a huge draw for us for staying with Big Ideas, was this approach to learning the mathematics. But another huge draw was that our high school just adopted Big Ideas as well. And because of this allows us a great opportunity to have coherence from 6th grade up through Algebra 2 with the same authorship and program. So that vertical alignment piece should be seamless, as well as some simple things like students having the same access to the same platform from 6th grade up through Algebra 2. And so that was a really exciting opportunity for us, and we really didn't want to pass that up. So some updates with this new copyright that we really liked. They're all listed here on the screen, but I'll just highlight some of the big ones. In each lesson, students are presented with the learning targets and success criteria. So it's very clear what they are learning each lesson. With the resources by chapter, we really liked how each chapter started with a video that provided some relevancy to what they were about to learn in that chapter. And the other neat piece is that Big Ideas allows you to have access to all of their curriculum materials as a teacher from kindergarten up through Algebra 2. So if you're finding that your students actually need some intervention that's below middle school, you have that access. And lastly, there was a lot of technology updates, specifically with the platform. The other great thing about Big Ideas, MRL, Modeling Real Life, is that they really structure their philosophy around 5 high-impact teaching strategy from John Hattie's Visible Learning Research. The first one being that teacher clarity of providing learning targets and success criteria. The second is all the different ways that to provide students feedback, including self-assessment for students. So throughout the lesson, they will pause for students to them rate themselves on the learning targets on what they believe their understanding is. With using the technology piece, teachers can actually get that feedback instantly in class. They also, Big Ideas in their teacher edition has lots of suggestions and prompts for leading classroom discussion. So teachers can utilize that while planning their lessons. Direct instruction, again, one of the high impact teaching strategies that gets desired outcomes for students, is key all throughout the resource. Key ideas are highlighted, and there's a lot of stepped out examples for students. And lastly, space practice is included. So within each lesson, there is some review and refresh exercises so that the topics that the students are learning are kept fresh in their mind. Another great thing about Big Ideas is that it has so many different resources for teachers to pull from. That's just what this slide is showing. I will not go through all of them since there are a lot, but both print resources and online resources. I don't even think our teachers have really even scratched the surface of maybe all the different resources they can pull from. And lastly, why we loved Big Ideas is it really supports our advanced pathway model. So not only do they provide Math 6, Math 7, Math 8 textbooks, they also provide those advanced math textbooks as well for students. So you can see here the advanced Math 6 textbook would include all of the chapters from Math 6 as well as the yellow highlights from the Math 7 text, and it would be in the same textbook. And then the same way, the advanced Math 7 textbook would have all of the Math 8 chapters as well as the green highlights from the Math 7. So the teachers were very excited to move right into a field test of this program, and we had 6 teachers volunteer to be part of the field test. All of our middle school buildings were included, and all grade levels and courses were represented as well. And really the purpose of the field test was to see how this a new copyright works in comparison to the 2014 copyright. We wanted to determine what are the things to consider for district-wide implementation and identify the real key pieces of the resource to utilize. And so the teachers identified a unit and chapters to pilot during the second semester, and then they came back and provided feedback on our rubric. They also then determined what a potential new scope and sequence for next year could be, as well as helping to identify what are the essential learnings in each of our units, and started looking at our vertical articulation documents. So the teacher feedback we got from the field test was aligned to our vision, as well as our rubric, which included the items on the left in the screen, and the right in the red are some key components that teachers lifted out as meeting our qualifications for the rubric. So under standards for mathematics, I'll just highlight a few. It had clear alignment to all of the standards for mathematics. And there really was a variety of problems to both build conceptual understanding as well as practice skill fluency. In the area of instructional practices, the teachers really liked how there was both an exploration portion, but then also just throughout the lesson that there were modeling real life problems in every section. Again, discussion prompts and ideas in the teacher edition, as well as a lot of different resources on the digital platform to help support effective practices. In the area of assessment, there was a lot of different options for teachers to choose from. They could print out just PDFs of maybe end of chapter assessments, or they also could build their own within the platform. A really neat feature of Big Ideas is that they do have an online homework assignment option where they can send that to the students' platform, and the students can get instant feedback at home on if their answers were correct or not, and try it multiple times to see if they could get the right answers. And in the area of differentiated support, there's a lot of different options for both intervention and enrichment. So after you've taught a lesson, teachers have the opportunity to choose some of those pieces to use as follow-up. And again, as I mentioned before, they have all of the access to even lower level grades resources if they needed to pull for intervention for that. And lastly, we always ask teachers, in general, how accessible is the resource, both for you as the educator and for your students. And the teachers gave great feedback about that. While learning a new digital platform is challenging, that it seemed pretty intuitive, and they were excited that the students would then be utilizing this digital platform even up to their high school years. So overall, the recommendation was to move forward with full implementation of this copyright for the 24-25 school year.
So with the approval at next week's board meeting, what we would do is we would spend some time this summer and into next year continuing to develop the course, utilizing that resource. More importantly, opening day, where we would have the availability to bring all the middle school teachers together for professional learning from Big Ideas representatives, and that really gets things started off right off the bat with everyone on the same page. And then we would have that professional learning throughout the year, whether it's on our PL days, I think the first one is in early November and so on, but that opportunity to kind of reconnect and make sure everyone's on the same page, plus their PLCs that they'll be meeting with, monthly or several times during the month, their cohort time, as I mentioned before. So those are directions, again, moving forward with the approval of it. So we're asking that you guys approve the Big Ideas Modeling Real Life to support students and teachers in math instruction for grades 6, 7, and 8. Please note that this purchase would include a physical book for every student, as well as 6-year digital platform licenses. I think that goes to the 2029-2030 school year. It would include digital or teacher edition resources and digital platform licenses, and also the professional learning for teachers like I had mentioned a minute ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Comments? Yes. Lindsay?
No, not a question, but a comment. When we had the opportunity to review this in our TLT committee, I was very impressed with the student textbook, is what I was looking at. But after each lesson, at the very end of it, and it's called Modeling Real Life, they have a real-life problem-solving question that goes with each lesson. And it really adapts it then to, why am I learning this? Of what use is it? And later in life, you know, you learn why you learned all that. But I just thought this program was so essential for our kids. Good choice.
Yes, Laura?
As a parent, I have really appreciated in the elementary level, anytime they're teaching a new concept, I get a page in English and in Spanish that tells me how to help properly and not the way I learned to do this in 1980-something. And that has been really crucial for me, and even in fourth grade, we're getting to concepts that I need support with as a parent. And I was watching during the whole presentation saying, okay, where's the parent support? And then I'm like, wait, maybe it's not cool to be supportive in middle school, but wait, we're probably gonna argue about math in middle school when she brings it home, and I legitimately am not going to remember how to do this. So my question is, what sort of resources are there for parents? Because I envision in my future very clearly that I'm gonna need those supports, and I imagine there are probably parents out there right now who are wishing they had those supports at home too. So just, that's my question, and I'm okay if you even respond and send things to me after the meeting.
No, I am sure Connie can talk in more detail about the specifics of that. Yep.
I think there would be a lot of different ways with this resource that parents could get support. There are some tutorial videos on the online platform for specific examples. If a new concept is being taught, they have these additional worksheets called Reteach, which kind of gives all the stepped out examples with kind of the very basic problem to then have practice right after that as well. So I think with access to the platform, parents would be able to get some of that additional help and support.
Will that platform live on the Google Classroom?
So it is a separate platform.
Okay.
It's the Big Ideas platform, but kids would probably, the assignments would probably be pushed to the Google Classroom to then say, hey, access this at Big Ideas.
Got it.
So.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, Lindsay, for that comment, because I put down the 3 R's: rigor, relevancy, and relationships. And you talked quite extensively about the rigor and the relevancy as it relates to this. The other reflection I had was it wasn't an R, but it was an alignment. And the alignment, and did I understand correctly that this really aligns with what we're already doing at the high school level? Is that correct? So now, if I'm a student entering 6th grade, I'm following all the way through to the time I'm a senior as it relates to this.
Well, through
same
Algebra
concept.
2, and we currently have that right now so by re-upping with Big Ideas, we'll continue to have that
Gotcha.
6th grade through Algebra 2.
And the other thing, is one of the bigger changes to this digital platform? Is that something that we've had in the past, or?
No, we've always had the digital platform. I would say, and Connie, you worked a lot more closely with it, but it sounds like the digital platform has definitely been expanded, and there's a lot more experiences with it for students and teachers.
Okay, and because there's that alignment, that digital platform, you can grow from being a 6th grader all the way up.
Right.
It's the same platform.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you're going to be asking for approval of this recommendation. Usually we have a 2-week or more period of time to ask questions. Just as a frame of reference, we have a board meeting next week. We made an adjustment. So we're going to be bringing this as a recommendation. So as you look at this, if you have any questions, please direct them to Dr. Slaa, and you'll pass that on to the appropriate individuals.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next on the agenda is public comments on non-action items. I don't believe there are any other public comments. We took all the non-action items earlier. Next on the agenda is good and welfare. Anyone have good and welfare? Oh, boy, there's a race to the top here. I'm going to go with Laura first, because she's closest.
Oh, thank you.
She could punch me in the arm.
No, never. I want to express my gratitude to all of the clubs and athletic teams and all of the groups that are having their banquets right now. So we talk a bit about all the folks who win things and about our prowess on the sports fields and our successes in the arts and other places. And the thing that I love about the banquets at the end of the year is the kids who are recognized for showing growth and potential and kindness and good sportsmanship. And I think that it's one of the most important things that we do, and I know all of the people who do those things are exhausted right now. They are ready to have a little break, but I really want to express gratitude to the people who take the time to acknowledge the kid who was really a slow runner at the start and is really a pretty slow runner now, but got a little better. And the kids who show up and cheer on their teammates even though they're sitting on the bench the whole time. And the students who were terrified to go on stage but finally were able to do it their senior year, and now they're going with an opportunity. That's winning in education, that's winning in our world, and I really want to express my gratitude to all of the adults who take the time to do that with those students, because it's so important.
Thank you. Denise?
Just piggyback a little bit, we've been all to a bunch of honors nights and graduation, and we had a couple busy weeks. Also, I went to the senior choir showcase at Milford, and as usual, it was fantastic. So piggyback on Laura, shout out to every student that's doing all the great things that they do and all the adults that are helping them do it.
Thank you. Amy?
So I'm going to shout out to the winners. I just want to say a big win to Lakeland High School softball team, who were not only district champs, they were not only regional champs, but now they're going to the quarterfinals of the state. That is huge. So well done, ladies. You represent well. Our golf team also went to state finals, track and field, both Milford and Lakeland went to state finals, and boys volleyball went past district. It's been a really good year for sports for Lakeland and Milford. So I just want to say good job, guys and gals. As you know, on the board, I'm a sports mom. And I just think that sports really do help our students in the classroom, with discipline, with friendships and connections. And I'm proud to say that we do a really good job here at Huron Valley. So thanks to all of our coaches, all of our parent volunteers, all of our students. Well done this year.
Thank you, Amy. Any other comments? Yes, Lindsay.
Yeah, just a real quick one. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to attend a production of Annie, and it was held over at Oak Valley Middle School, and it's part of our Milford High School Performing Arts group, theater group. And they were just children, like K through 8, that presented this very professional presentation of the stage play Annie. I also wanted to make a comment that the young lady who starred in the Sunday afternoon performance was Lucy Dodd. She's related to our Laura Dodd. The child was exceptional, as were all of the students that performed. It was really top-notch. That's my say-so.
This is a young lady that you help with math?
I sure do.
Yeah,
She's an artist.
Just a reminder, once again, we have a board meeting next week. Election of officers next week, and organizational meeting. So those are two things, along with a few other items on the agenda. So we only have a 1-week break between tonight and next week. So just a reminder there. The other thing, as we started this meeting, we only have 2 more wake-ups for our kiddos, and
they'll be out for summer vacation, which really reminds all of us that we won't see as many yellow buses out there, but we'll see a lot of individual young people out there. And please watch over them, keep an eye on them, be safe, all right? And I know our kids, they're going to be very involved in a lot of activities that the school district sponsors and also a lot of things that they'll be involved in. But let's watch out for them. They're ours. We have a responsibility to them, even though they might not be in school every day. So with that, this meeting's adjourned.